Doobie doo, I believe we're live. I believe I can fly. It's it's Friday night. It's December the 19th. We're here. We're going to watch Oklahoma and Alabama. First game of the college football playoffs. So, yeah, we're just going to hang out, watch these two teams battle it out, see what happens. Todd seems to be here. Todd, can you hear me? Todd, can you hear me? How's the microphone? How's the camera? Chickadee, check 1 2, check 1 2 for Mr. Todd, the man who knows how to manage a farm. Audio and picture is good. All right. Well, it looks like we got something going on, correct? This game should be starting here within the next 5 or 10 minutes, I suppose. We'll keep an eye on it. It's important for the Jets, in case you didn't know, because Ty Simpson could be a first-round pick, although he's currently not. He has fallen back substantially from a month ago. And people don't really understand why. And there was a report that perhaps he had a back injury. And that's one of the things about these college games and college teams. They don't have to report injuries like the NFL teams do. And so you get very sketchy information about their injury situations. So if he had a back injury, let's say, and that's the most convenient excuse for a guy who's not performing. But let's say he did. Well, if he comes out tonight and balls out and they win, and then they keep winning in the playoff and he's having great games, well, maybe he could redeem himself. And you just say, well, he had a back injury for that month. That's why he stunk. Because the tape before that was good, very good. And then look what he did in the playoff. And we as Jet fans, we want at least 3 quarterbacks, first round, top of the first round level quarterbacks available. Right now, there could be as few as 1, and there might be 2. And Simpson, unless he redeems himself, is not going to be part of the conversation. So we want him to really redeem himself. That is what we are looking for. Because there are, we got to see really what happens. There could be as many as 3 desperately needy teams who need a quarterback. The Raiders, us, and the Browns. Now, the Raiders and Browns also do have other options, and they could decide they're not going to go for anybody this year. They'll stick with their bridge people, Geno. Deshaun Watson's coming back for the Browns, for example. They could decide to go with a combination of Shador and Deshaun and Dylan Gabriel and hold off until next year, though that's seeming unlikely at this point. But they could also very easily go get a bridge quarterback, a free agent. Well, Todd, if you don't care who plays quarterback, you can't win. You can't win without a quarterback. So the process of winning begins with a quarterback, and then you need all the other things. So you can't really say just win. That doesn't really work. You have to know how to win. And that's why the person who said just win, baby, was Al Davis. And after he said that, they didn't win very much, did they? Because it doesn't really work. You have to know how to win. What do we need to do to win? And in the modern day NFL, you need a quarterback. We haven't had one. Now, you need a lot of other things too, but you definitely need that. So that is why this is all so important, because a team like the Browns have a lot of talent. So, for example, the Browns could say, well, wait a minute, we'll just go get, I don't know, whoever they choose, Marcus Mariota or Gardner Minshew, or well, they wouldn't do that. Well, maybe Kirk Cousins becomes available and they go and get him, although with their weather situation, that's probably not a great fit. But let's say they went and got, I don't know, Mariota. And they said, you know what? If we use they have a lot of draft capital. If they use their draft capital on wide receivers and offensive line, which is the other things they need mostly, we got a damn good team here. We got running backs. We got defense. We got Myles Garrett. We got all these people. So why don't we just get someone who can give us top, 13, 14, 15 quarterback play, and we can go to the playoffs? And they might say, well, let's do that. That's better than drafting it, Mendoza or Moore or anybody else as a rookie, because then you got to go through the rookie trials and all the rookie ups and downs that usually come with a rookie. And so that could happen. And similarly, the Raiders need so much stuff on their team. They're not in the same situation as the Browns, in my opinion. The Browns have a lot of talent on this roster, in my opinion, but the Raiders do not. So the Raiders is sort of the opposite. Are we going to really drop a young rookie quarterback into this situation? And you might say, well, they do have Brock Bowers. Well, they do got Ashton Genty. They got something. Yeah, but they have a not so great offensive line. They don't have any wide receivers. I mean, Yes, every team's backup. But the problem with every team's backup is they're not free agents. You can't just acquire them. So most teams are going to hold on to their backups. That's the thing I think about the 49ers. They're going to hold on to Mac Jones. All right, so the game is starting now. It looks like the Alabama Crimson Tide are going to be kicking off to the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners. So we will get a first look at Mr. Johnny Mateer. He of the injured thumb problem. So they do a fair catch, and the game has begun. So as always, we'll be charting these quarterbacks so that we know who's good, who's bad. Instead of just relying on statistics or the eye test, we use the eye test, and then we have a system into which we put these quarterbacks and how they play. And that gives us a good way to grade them out and do comparisons. I think this will be the third or fourth time that I'll be grading John Mateer, and then this will be like the seventh or eighth time I'm grading Ty Simpson, because Ty Simpson really looked like a great prospect early on in the year. All right, Mateer starts out in the shotgun, looks center, looks right, can't find anybody, runs around. I mean, first down, he can't even find anybody. And they tackle him for a 1-yard loss. You got to be able to find your receivers, Mr. Mateer. So not a great start for old Benny Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator for the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners. Got an old Air Jordan hat on his head for some reason. All right, now Mateer 2nd and 10. I guess they gave him no gain on that one. Out of the shotgun now, he hands it off to the running back, who picks up about 4 or 5 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 5. 3rd down, of course, is the money down. That's when they know you're passing, and that's when you know you're passing, usually. Now, not always in college, but these are the type of downs where you really, really want to see what these quarterbacks are made of. So we'll see what we can get out of old Johnny Mateer. 3rd down and 6 it is. So 3rd and medium. Puts a man in motion left to right. Takes it from the shotgun. Looks to his right. Throws. Got a man. But was he in bounds? Yes, says the referee. So diving catch. Nice play by the receiver. Oh, yeah, he was way in. Nice job on that one. I'd say that's a solid throw. kind of threw its sidearm. But they get the first down, so able to move the ball there. And the receiver was rather wide open. Burks. Now, I don't know all the players on all of these teams, so we'll make do. There's a nice run by the running back. Now, Alabama this year is sort of a flawed team, I would say. Blaylock is running back. Their defense isn't as good as it normally is, and they've had the struggles in the running game. They've had struggles places you wouldn't expect. Mateer now running. These running quarterbacks. At some point, these colleges are going to realize that we need pocket passers. These dudes are getting hurt in college now. Ooh, that was knocked out, it looks like. But recovered by Oklahoma. So it'll be 3rd down and 2 now. Well, Mateer's had one nice pass, and then he's had to scramble around on the other two, so that's not good. They move some people around in the shotgun, double wing, 2-by-1. Now he's going to do quarterback power, and he's got it. So, yeah, they rely on his running. So that's one of his strengths, running around. Bryant is here. Hey, good to see Bryant. And also Jonathan. I am honestly happy with any new quarterback. Well, you want the right one, Jonathan. We don't want just anybody. Then we'll all be miserable if we pick the wrong one. All right, Mateer now in the shotgun again. See if Alabama can get a stop here. He does an RPO and rolls out, fires. Ooh, that was no good. Almost got it intercepted. Was that interceptable or bad? Can I have a replay? Can I have a replay? Are they going to give me a replay? That's the problem with these broadcasts. They do too many close-ups, too many interviews on the sideline, and they don't give you enough replays. All right, I'll just give them a bad on that one. Could have been interceptable. And now here's a running play, stuffed up pretty good. All right, now it'll be 3rd and long. Let's see what they do. Jonathan says, yeah, but with Rodgers, we were all happy, but then it didn't work out. Yeah, he snapped his Achilles. Did you see that, Jonathan? Shit happens in life. That's why we watch the games, buddy. He snapped his Achilles. That was the team, really. 2023 was really the team. We had a killer team, man. Would have had a nice, fun season, but the Achilles said, no, you're not. You know, what are you going to do? All right, now Mateer, 3rd and long, looking. Oh. Well, I don't know if the receiver fell down, but that didn't look good. We'll give him a bad. And he was looking to drop it off anyway. On 3rd and 10, if you're doing a check down, that's not great. Not so good. He was trying to check it down, and the receiver fell down, so yeah, I don't know if I should give him a bad on that one. I'll give him a routine. I'll be generous. On that one. All right, so that's how they got the stop. It looked like it wasn't going to go for the first down anyway, but you never know. He might have run for it. And so they punt it. And now Mr. Simpson, who's actually the much more important guy. Now, if Simpson continues to stink up the place, he's going to probably have to transfer out of Alabama. They got a 5-star behind him. I don't know if they're going to want him back if he continues to stink. But, so really the best thing for Simpson would be to just play really well throughout this playoff and then declare for the draft. Although the problem with him, though, with that is that he's got so few game starts that some of the teams are going to be reluctant with that. And plus, he's 23 years old already. Jonathan, I don't want to give too much. Well, it doesn't matter what you want. We'll see what happens. But it may be, I mean, we got to wait and really see. But if it's possible to move up, I personally think Mooj is going to do it. But it may not be possible. The team who has the pick, the number one overall pick, they may want to stay there, and maybe they don't want any trade at all, no matter what you offer them. Which case, we'll just have to stick and pick. And so we're going to have options. My thing is, we're probably going to get a veteran in here. We'll see how Cook looks. If Cook looks like he could be a QB2 over these next 3 games, we'll probably just stick with that instead of getting 2 veterans, although you could bring in 2 other veterans. And then if we can't get up to where we get one of the top 1 or 2, then I guess we're just sticking with the vets that we pick up. But that'll be a lot less exciting. I don't think the fan base will be too thrilled if we go into the season, with a veteran retread du jour, and without having made a move up, and we didn't get Mendoza, we didn't get Moore, we didn't get nothing. I don't think the fan base will be too happy about it. But it could be that we just don't have a shot. So got to see how it all shakes out. But I think if we can trade up, I think Mooj will do it. That's my current thinking. I think Mooj is in the mood to get his guy. I think that the regime knows that they got to really get this thing going. I mean, all right, they got a mulligan this year, fine, but I don't think you can get 2 years worth of mulligans. All right, so Simpson's starting out on the negative 12-yard line. He's in the shotgun. He's got 11 personnel on the field, and they do an RPO and hand it to Jam Miller. They go run it up the middle. That's something they have not been able to get going all season. Someone to watch also is Parker Brailsford, the center for Alabama. That could be a pick that we make in the middle of the draft. Sort of a backup guy for us. Developmental guy that we could use. Play in the middle of the line, center, guard, etc. But Alabama really needs to get the run game going. They just can't run the dang ball. Now it's 2nd down and 9. Simpson in the shotgun. He's moving the running back all around, throws it out to his receiver. Nice routine throw, but for only 3 or 4 yards. So now it's going to be 3rd and medium. That did not look good. Didn't look like he was ready for the snap. Something was off there. They showed on replay, so that's not great. You never know whose fault that is. Could be the center, could be the QB. All right, now they got a 2-by-2 formation with the receivers out way wide. Simpson looks to his left, fires. They're saying incomplete. Threw it low. Looked like a good pass, but not completed. Oh, that's a drop. Man, you got to catch that, brother. If you are a wide receiver at Alabama, you have got to catch that, brother. Like, what are you doing? One of the things you could say is, Jonathan, come on, brother. No. He's going to have a good career in the Canadian Football League. Diego Pavia is not a realistic option for us. I mean, if you want a smaller, slower, less of a cannon of an arm than Kyler Murray, then Diego Pavia is your man. Let's stop. Let's be a little realistic. I did forget that it is What About season. It is What About season. So when you open up the live stream, there's always going to be a bunch of what abouts. What about this guy? What about that guy? There's going to be a lot of what abouts going on. So, I guess we as content creators should get used to what about season? What about this guy? What about that guy? What about this other one? But Diego Pavia, no. That's a no. Thought says when the NFL had the expansion draft, what year was that, Todd? What year was that? Long time ago? This is not then. Jacksonville and Carolina. Did they? I don't know. Who did they take? Some guy. Anyway, this is the NFL now. It's not 100,000 years ago, Todd. So we got to really remember that nothing really matters before 2011. It's almost like it's a weird thing because there's things that I have said maybe 1,000 times and nobody listens. Nobody fucking listens. It's like, it's the most funny thing in the world. You would think that people who frequent a channel might listen to something the host says. Yeah, anything that happened prior to 2011 doesn't matter. Number one. And number two, in an expansion draft, you can pick people's rosters clean. That's the whole point. There is no such thing as an expansion draft now. So if we want somebody's backup, you can't just select them for your team. Hey, there's Kyler Murray. I mean, we can also select a quarterback this draft and next draft. Yeah, but why select somebody who's terrible? There's no point in taking someone who stinks. We're talking about first round quarterbacks. Now, if you're talking about taking a guy in the middle rounds, well, there's few and far between of them. But I mean, some of these guys you might want to target in the fourth round, like a Josh Hoover or something like that. He's going back to school, or even a Sorsby is a guy who is people were getting excited about, but he's going back to school. A lot of these guys are going back to school to get the NIL money, and now they're running a stretch play to the right, and they got a 2 or 3 yards. Just saying it can be done. Well, no, it can't be done. I mean, you can't have an expansion draft if there's no expansion draft. Yes, you could get a backup and they could play for you. But that's what I'm saying. You really want free agents. You could trade for a backup, but teams want to keep their backups for the most part. You want to trade for Will Levis? You could trade for him. You want to trade for Kirk Cousins? There's a nice throw by Mateer. I give him a great one on that one. Fired it in there. Good job, Johnny M. That was a nice one. You could trade for Kirk Cousins. You want Kirk Cousins? But a guy like Mac Jones, they're not trading him. And by the way, we shouldn't give up any of our draft capital for a guy like that, because you can get similar production out of a free agent that you just spend money on. So just spend the money on the free agents. There's going to be some free agents looking for opportunities. That's where we got to go and look. That's who we're going to get. Mateer looks, oh boy. That's what you get with Mateer. He throws a nice ball and then he throws one 10 feet over the guy's head. That's the John Mateer experience in a bottle right there. Had a guy wide open. Just put it on him, brother. And he underhanded. His mechanics are all messed up. Well, now you're seeing why this Mateer's not a good prospect, really. Unless he cleans up a lot of stuff. He has a strong arm and he runs around good. But right there is an example of why you don't want to go for John Mateer. Now he's probably going back to school, and here he is running for a first down, so that is something he offers. Jonathan says, who do you really want in the draft? Well, we need a lot of stuff. We're going to need a wide receiver, an edge, a defensive tackle, a safety, Linebackers, we got tons of stuff that we need. That's why we shouldn't really be trading for backups when you could just sign a free agent and get the same production or better. Because these free agents that are coming up, they're going to be looking for opportunity. And if it's looking like we're not drafting a quarterback high in the first round, then we got the best opportunity around. There's a handoff that goes nowhere. So that is something we do offer. If it looks like we can't get up to where we want to get a quarterback in the first round, then we go to the free agent market and we say, look, we got something you want. It's called opportunity. You can come here and see what you can do. Prove people that you can be a starter, man. And that's what you're looking for in that situation. Because then you want to draft all the other stuff, a lot of the other stuff that you do need. That's a throwaway. 3rd down and 10. And so that is, that is something we do have. Here's Thunder Hawk XD. If Mendoza and Moore are out, who is your favorite quarterback for next year? Well, we got to see who's going to, like we're just talking about, it's going to be a free agent of some kind. So we got to see who makes it to free agency, and then we'll do an analysis after that. I'll do a video. In fact, I was thinking about, here's a check down on 3rd and 10. See, and then the running back goes and breaks a few tackles, and yeah. But that's not great from a quarterback situation, but it is good from a team situation. 3rd and 10, drop it off 4 yards down the field, and he runs for the first down. So the quarterback in this situation just gets a routine throw, but he gets all the yak goodness onto his statistics. So Oklahoma driving down the field, they're in the low red zone. So I was thinking about doing a video, maybe even tomorrow, on the potential free agent quarterbacks. Now, I don't think a lot of the quarterbacks who are going to be free agents are going to re-up with their current teams. Because, and here's Mateer running, which he can do very well, and he gets into the end zone for a touchdown. So 7-0 Oklahoma. So, a lot of those guys who are backups now are going to become free agents, and then they're going to want an opportunity to start. So a guy like a guy like Mariota, for example, with Washington, he was the backup, but he's getting a lot of starts because Jaden Daniels has been injured. And so he's going to put up a lot of numbers. We're going to see what he winds up with for the year. And then he's going to go to market and say, hey, my guy, his agent will say, should be a starter. Look at these numbers he put up. Look what he did. Look at all the experience he has. He's a great guy. He can run. He can do all these things, which is true. And we can match that up with an opportunity. But I don't think a guy like that is going to be very exciting. So it's going to be sort of like disappointing. But, what are you going to do? Johnny Boy, should we draft a running back? No. Why would we do that, Johnny Boy? Is this fantasy or is this real life? There's basically 2 positions that we really don't need: running back and cornerback. Although with cornerback, we kind of do need some depth. But running back is probably the one position we should not draft. No. Now I'm assuming that we sign Breece Hall. If we don't sign Breece, then I guess we could take one in the middle rounds somewhere. But we have a lot of needs. I kind of like the idea of just getting some veteran running backs. And our defense is so bad, man. Like, our defense is so bad. We need so many players. So I would sign Breece Hall. And then you go into next year with Breece and Braylon and Isaiah, because don't forget Braylon Allen's coming back. So, and then, and then if you sign Kene Nwangu to be, your kick returner, special teams player, he's also a running back. He's a, 4th string running back. And then we'll be set there. So I would sign Breece, and then go Brees, Braylon, Isaiah, and then Kane, and we're set there, and we could use our capital for many other things that we need. Now, if we don't sign Brees, then you could make the case, but I probably would just sign a veteran myself for money and use the draft capital for other things. We need so many things, it's not even funny. A fullback? No, we're not taking a fullback in the fourth round. No. Well, if we first of all, we should sign Andrew back. That'd be easy. And second of all, if there is a good fullback, then we'll take him in the seventh round or as a UDFA. Most teams don't employ a fullback, so you don't need to waste a fourth round pick on a fullback. That'd be very bad. That would be very bad because we have too many other holes on the roster, and the fullback only plays about 5 snaps per game, if that. Plus, you can just sign Andrew Beck for money. So, we're starting to see some of these contracts come out now. We signed Josh Myers. We signed Jeremy Ruckert. Hopefully, we see just a whole bunch of these contracts being signed and done to fill some of the holes of the role players that we do need. That way, we can spend the whole draft trying to get, positions of greater positions of need. We need linebacker, edge, defensive tackle, safety. We need so many things. Alabama only takes it out to the 15. This Alabama team is kind of disappointing, I think. Just from a talent perspective, they don't have the same level of talent that you're used to seeing on an Alabama team, which is not a great thing as far as Kalen DeBoer is concerned. Some people in the media are saying if he loses this game, he's going right to Michigan. I'm not so sure about that. But one of the nice things about all these games is as soon as they're over, you start getting some more information about some of the players on the losing teams. Simpson now taking a sack. That's another of his problems he's had over the last month, holding on to the ball too long, which is about pocket presence and pocket awareness. Not very good on this one. Doesn't seem to see the blitz coming or even sense it. Not sure even if that was a greatly disguised blitz. But no one blocked him, so he just ran right in and sacked him. But pocket awareness has been a problem for young Mr. Simpson as well. So far, not a good start for Simpson. All right, there's a routine pass over the middle to his tight end. Basically have him for 3 routine passes so far. But this Oklahoma defense also has people on it who are going to be in the draft as well. They have an edge player that we can be looking at. Now Simpson has to call a timeout. Also not great. Has to burn a timeout. Couldn't get the playoff. Man. I don't know what happened to this guy. He looked so good in the beginning of the year. Now he looks completely lost. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what the hell's going on at Alabama. But this is a very unusual Alabama team, I would say. This is not the kind of Alabama Nick Saban got you used to. I'll say that much. We can say that much. Let me know if there's any issues with audio. I got a message from YouTube saying there's something about the bit rate. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio. Looks okay from my end. Testing, testing, testing. Like anybody knows what the bit rate is. Let me check this. That looks the same. That looks the same. All right, I guess we're in good shape. Jets worldwide. Bits cost way too much these days. Yeah, bits, bytes, RAM, RIM, room. Everything costs too much. The rent is too damn high, as they used to say. But yeah, I mean, I don't think YouTube should be giving me suggestions about the audio, because that's a little disconcerting. It says the audio stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use an audio stream bit rate of 128. I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm looking down here. It looks okay to me on my OBS. So, I don't know. Stupid YouTube. Yeah, this Ty Simpson guy, it's not going great for him so far. It's now 3rd down and 10. I got him down for 3 routine passes, but one of the ones was dropped by his receiver. So, I mean, it hasn't been terrible, but he really needs to get this, offense rolling here. They say roll tide for Alabama. Well, they're not rolling like any kind of tide I've seen. All right, here's Simpson now. Back, looking. Can't find anyone now. He's running in the end zone. Throws is incomplete. Oh, boy. This is, I don't know what this guy's doing. Got a good pocket initially. Then comes the pass rush around the edge. Can't find anyone and then throws it out of bounds. Oh, boy. I wonder if DeBoer is going to pull this guy. I mean, it's been a month plus of bad quarterback play. Oh, they almost blocked a punt. The guy might have got a piece of it. He's holding his head, so maybe not. But he almost got him. Almost got him. You might want to block that guy. Jeez. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. But yeah, I mean, if this game gets too boring, we can always take a look at the free agents to be quarterbacks to see what the list is. That's actually a video I might do tomorrow. I was thinking about. Here's Mateer now for the Sooners as they look to go up by 2 scores. Back to pass, looking, drops it down. Check down, that's a routine. And just go over the list and say, here's this guy, and then, look up their PFF, look up their stats, their normie stats, and then I don't know if we really need to do film on some of these veterans. I mean, like a guy like Kirk Cousins may or may not be available. He could get cut because it saves them $22 million in cap, or they could just stick with him, considering Penix is coming back from injury. So they could just stick with what they got there. But it's very possible that he becomes available. But we do kind of need to figure out if we can't get one in the draft, are we comfortable with any one of these people? Because the, it's kind of a it's kind of a weird thing because I don't think there's a veteran that the fan base is going to really be excited about. When I go over the list tomorrow, whenever I make this video, the list is not going to be, there's not going to be too many people on the list that people get excited about. And maybe it'll be free agents and trade targets, but even the trade targets are not exciting. So I don't know, man. Going to go another season with, disappointing quarterback play. I mean, at some point, yeah, Philip Rivers. I mean, at some point, we got to do something. But, it's a tough spot. I mean, the defense has been so bad and requires so much infusion of talent. And then you could have even if the defense improves significantly, then you have the situation we had under Saleh for a couple of years where the defense was good, but we couldn't get the offense rolling because of the quarterback. And then, you know, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this will be. I would say that this offseason is the offseason of Muji and AG. Whatever they decide to do um, is going to basically determine their fate. Just like with Saleh and Joe Douglas, their decisions regarding Darnold and then Zach Wilson determined their fate. Basically, they made three quarterback decisions: Darnold, Zach Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers, and they came up snake eyes on all three. Oh, that's terrible tackling. Routine throw, terrible tackling. How do you have a team like Alabama be bad at tackling? That's not good. Oof. I don't know, man. This Kalen DeBoer fella, I'm not sure Alabama's too thrilled with him. But, and so now they're going for a field goal. So you know what I mean? The quarterback decisions you make is really what determines your fate. And there just may not be too many great options for us this year. And are the fans going to really be patient with AG after, if let's say next year doesn't go well? They're going to really sit through another crappy season just to hopefully get one of the guys in 27. And who knows what happens with the college guys in 27? Some of them are going to stink and get hurt and this and that, not come out. I don't know. It's not a great place. But I will say that Muji has done a good job with his trades so far. After he got all of his staff together, he's been very, very good. So let's just hope whatever they decide turns out well. It does feel like it is the season for this is their consequential off season. Whatever they decide at quarterback is going to basically decide their fate. So, and for us, we kind of got to hope that Aaron Glenn works out long term because there's not many people want to take the job if he doesn't. So, I don't know. Very consequential offseason, I would say. They call for a fair catch on the kickoff, so now Alabama's down 10-0. And Ty Simpson, who has not looked good so far, they're surprising him with blitzes, this and that. Takes the field, trying to restore faith that he can do something. I would think if he loses this game and doesn't look good, I think he's going into the transfer portal. Would be my guess. Here's a running play, and it goes, well, they threw him for 5 yards. That should be illegal. All right, well, if you're going to throw your guy down the field, I guess you could get yardage that way. That would be a different kind of thing to do. Just take your running back, and now Simpson can't seem to hear the play call. Can we get it together, man? Just take your running back and throw him down the field while he has the ball in his hand. That's one way to gain yardage. It's a little unconventional, but what are you gonna do? Now they have a tight formation. Now they go back to the running game, and they cannot block up the running game at all. They cannot block it up at all. End of the first quarter, 10-0 Oklahoma. You got a running quarterback versus a quarterback who's taking a bunch of sacks and whatnot. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't know, man. What if it's like what if it's like Will Levis and Sam Howell? Like you could legitimately have a quarterback room of Will Levis, Sam Howell, and Brady Cook. That's the quarterback room. Oh boy. I don't know, man. But if Glenn and Muji don't really make it, which they're going to get at least 2 more years, but if the quarterbacking thing doesn't work out for them, then I just don't know who's going to want to coach this team. I just really don't. Probably wind up with Rex friggin' Ryan. Well, here's some news. The Raiders quarterback Geno Smith expected to start for rest of season. So no Kenny Pickett. So like let's hope the Raiders, I mean, can the Raiders play well? For God's sake, they look terrible every week. Can Geno just find some of that old Seahawk magic and play good and win a couple of games? All we really need is the Raiders to win a couple of games, and for Geno to look good, and then they could just go, we'll just stick with Geno. And we got Kenny Spickett as the backup, and we got Aiden O'Connell over here, and we'll rock and roll, and we'll build up the roster. I mean, they have no wide receivers. Their O line stinks. Their defense no bueno. So if they feel good about Geno, they could really build up the team. Jets worldwide, just win, baby, right? Except if you don't know how to win, you never will. And that's the problem with saying just win, baby. You can't just win. You got to know how to do it. And right now they're trying to determine who the hell the quarterback is. And I think we got to be rooting for Geno Smith to play his ass off the rest of the season and win some ball games and look good doing it. And that takes them out of contention for a quarterback. Here's a pass. That's not good. He keeps throwing to this Horton guy. What happened to Ryan Williams? And where's Jeremy Bernard? That was pass interference, but they didn't call it. 4th down and 3. DeBoer going crazy on the sideline. I'm not going to give him a bad pass on that. I'm going to give him a routine because it wasn't a bad pass. It was if the guy wasn't getting held. So this game has not been going well for Alabama, to say the least. Simpson hasn't looked terrible, but hasn't looked good at all. So, man. But anyway, that's some news about the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders. Uh, and it's kind of the same thing with the Dolphins. Like, what are the Dolphins going to do with Tua? He cost them tons of money. He's got huge cap hits. They're going to really try to do a Russell Wilson Denver Broncos situation. So that's problematic. Ooh, that's a bad pass. Jonathan says we also need a QB coach. Well, we don't know if we need a QB coach. We have no idea how Charles London's doing that job. But we might, and AG will make that determination. I wonder if I should give. Nah, that's just bad. So the QB coach is really, somebody who. I mean, QB coaches don't really develop QBs. They don't do that. They just run. They just run the drills and the film study and all that good stuff. People get that confused all the time. But he might be doing a bad job. We don't know. Problem is, we don't know. Might be doing a great job. He might be doing a terrible job. We don't know. I think it's pretty clear Fields and Tyrod are what they are, and Brady Cook's a UDFA, so expectations have to be low. 3rd down and 8 now for Oklahoma. Oklahoma hasn't really done anything great except that Mateer has been able to run around. So, and that's been good enough so far. Now they're stacking the line, Alabama is. Now they drop away. But you got to account for Mateer's legs. He throws on the run. Did he make the catch? They're saying yes. Oh, yeah, he had it. I'll give him. Now, Mateer, he definitely. Oh, does he have control? That I don't know. They may or may not give him that. But Mateer definitely has a strong arm. You can see that. I'll give him a routine on that one. I'll give him a solid. Let's be. If AG doesn't get the defense right, he will be out. No, he's gonna get a 3rd year, I think. But certainly, I think we're gonna spend money on free agency for sure. So that's one thing. I mean, we're gonna have better players in here. And then I think no matter what happens, AG's here for at least another year after next year. That's the way I look at it. Woody loves AG. So, but hopefully we can sign enough free agents and draft enough impact players to, improve the roster to the point of call upheld. So that was a catch. So nice job by wide receiver Burks. But that's another aspect of Mateer's game. He does flush out of the pocket and throw on the run very well. And he does have a strong arm. He has a gun. So looks like he's getting maybe some of his velocity back from losing that, getting that injured thumb that he had. Now he's looking, fires over the middle. There's another nice throw. I mean, you can really look at Mateer and say, wow, look at these tools he has. I mean, he has a gun. And he has a quick release. So those are good things. There's too many poor decisions and crazy throws also. But Mateer, everybody says Mateer is going back to school. We'll find out when they get knocked out of the playoff. That run didn't work very well. But yeah, I do think we're going to try to spend on free agency and probably get 2 linebackers, 1 edge player, 1 defensive tackle, and 1 safety at least. And these should be fairly high priced guys. And we probably will overspend on it, but we got to increase the talent on the team. I mean, we just have to increase the talent on that unit. There's a routine throw out there. I think we're going to see how this plays out, but this whole idea that, Aaron Glenn was convinced to run the Wilkes system or some combo of the Wilkes Glenn system, that has to be considered a freshman mistake by Glenn. He should have just said, no, I'm going to hire a defensive coordinator who runs my system. I know it works. We don't need, it's similar to the solid system, so the players that were here, won't be a big transition or anything. That's what he should have done. That was a big mistake he made. And so we'll see how he overcorrects in the offseason. And we'll know as soon as we start seeing the free agents fly in March and we start seeing those tweets, if we're signing the right people. And we'll do live streams here. We'll do live streams here of, when that starts happening, so who do we get, who do we not get, etc. It'll be pretty easy to see, I think. He is a weird quarterback. It's Mateer. He makes these crazy throws. Well, this is not good for Alabama. They're getting their clocks clean so far. They are getting their clocks cleaned. $17-0. This is not, not that the score matters too much, but we really wanted Ty Simpson to play well, and he just has not. Maybe he could lead a big comeback. That would be nice. But also, this Alabama defense doesn't seem like it knows what it's doing either. So all of this is not great for Kalen DeBoer at all, really. So we'll check the old NFL news. In case you missed it, the Bills have signed Matthew Judon. Which, I don't know if that's going to help them too much, but they did sign him. Nothing really breaking. That's for sure. That's for sure. But we do have 3 games tomorrow in college for this college football playoff. Interestingly, they're doing 1 game on Friday night, this one, and then 3 games on Saturday. But the NFL has a couple of games going on Saturday tomorrow as well. So a lot of football going on. And we'll know more and more about who's coming out in the draft as more of these games end. For example, if Alabama loses this game, and it's not going well at all, Is Kalen DeBoer returning as head coach? A, do they want him to return? And B, does he want to take the Michigan job or something like that? You wonder if Michigan, looking at this game and how this season has gone, you know, do they really want Kalen DeBoer? I'm not so sure. I mean, all of the talent deficiency that you see on Alabama, that's on Kalen DeBoer. You're supposed to be able to recruit over here. Alabama basically has the entire state of Alabama, which is chock full of talent, and all the neighboring states. Kind of weird that there seems to be such a talent disparity on this team. Trinidad Chambliss is almost certainly going back to school. Now, he would be an interesting prospect. That would be a guy that could maybe fall into that category of late first, early second type of guy. But he's going back to school, I think. I mean, we won't know for sure until, they get knocked out of the playoff here. But it seems to me he's going back to school, as he probably should. And then next year, he'll be a really good prospect. But, then again, he might look at it and go, wait a minute, next year is going to be 10,000 quarterbacks coming out. Do I really want to be in that group? So if he comes out, he'd be interesting. He runs around a lot, so that's troublesome in the NFL because you take a beating if you do that. And plus, you got to worry about Lane, being successful in Lane Kiffin's system. That's it's good for college. I'm not so sure that what he runs down there in Ole Miss, what he ran, is really translatable. Although he certainly can run, obviously, an NFL offense, but I don't think what he's running at Ole Miss really inspires a lot of confidence that way. All right, so here's Ty Simpson out of the shotgun. Again, they can't oh, my goodness. They can't block anybody. What is wrong with this offensive line? Why is it Alabama can't block? They're just getting bowled over. They're supposed to have the best athletes in the country. The hell, man? This is really confusing. And it's hard to judge this Simpson character. I mean, that's a bad pass that he made, but he got flushed out of the pocket early. All right, there's a nice one. But he's got a wide receiver here who can't get any yak. It's a routine pass. Kevin Callahan is here. He said that defense is all over Simpson. Yeah. How the hell are we going to evaluate this guy if he can't get a pocket to throw from? And it's really confusing because Alabama should have a much better offensive line. They should have much better talent all the way through. I mean, I haven't even seen a pass to Jeremy Bernard or Ryan Williams yet. Those are their two best receivers. He hasn't even thrown to them, as far as I remember. He hasn't even thrown to the tight end, Josh Cuevas. He's very good. So he just hasn't had time to operate. And this is Alabama. Now, how do you judge this pass? I mean, he got it there. How are we going to give this? I mean, it's severely underthrown. I want to give it a bad. I mean, if he throws it out ahead, that's a bad pass, right? It's severely underthrown. I'm giving it bad. Jonathan. Jets are committed to the tank. Question mark. I don't know what that means. Simpson, I mean, the players on the field are going to try to win. Maybe keeping Garrett Wilson out was conservative like that. Simpson, God's sake, man. But situation like that, I'm going to give him a throwaway there. I mean, he couldn't find anybody, and then the O-line couldn't hold up. God's sakes. I mean, even the one pass he completed downfield, it was underthrown significantly. So I couldn't give him even credit for that. That's not going to be good for his grade. And the first thing these kids care about is their Frankie grade. Everybody knows that. These kids, they don't want to know about how many, how PFF grades them are. They want to know their Frankie grade. It's number one on their list. All right, there's a good throw. Atta boy. Maybe get some confidence. Give him a solid on that one. That's what I'm talking about. Nice little crosser. Bing, boom, right there. Nicely done. All right. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Now he's under center. It's funny. Brady Cook said he never took a snap under center until he got to the NFL, which is another problem in college. That's another bad pass. He does seem to freak out around pressure a little too much. I don't like his pocket presence and awareness. He just doesn't seem to know. All right, pure progression going through. All right, where's the check down? You got to look at the tape here, but I mean, the tight end's open. Why are we throwing it behind him? Come on. And get it out quicker. I'm not liking his pocket presence right now. Jets mess is here. Good to see you, Jets mess. OG of the comments section. A nice running play that gets a couple of yards. My goodness. But yeah, I mean, so, if you combine the lack of experience that Simpson has, he's got to perform at a much higher level to get people to overlook that. And in the beginning of the season, he was doing so. It was like, all right, this is the son of a coach. He knows what he's doing. But then these last months, this last 5, 6, 7 weeks, he has not looked like someone with much more experience. And then people are going to go, okay, he's got some promise, but he needs more experience. But the problem is he's already 23 years old. He's throwing 3rd down and 6 3-yard passes. That's not great. And his pocket presence and awareness seems way off. And now down 17-0, 4th down and 2, they're going to go for it. Problem is they can't run the ball. Can you imagine an Alabama team that can't run the ball? I mean, what are we talking about? How is that a thing? Now he's still in the shotgun. These guys never take a snap under center. It's crazy. 3-by-2 formation. He's got no running back in. And throws. He's got a man, and he worms his way into the end zone. Nice job by 17, and they finally get a touchdown. All right. Nice job. Brooks. Let's look at Parker Brailsford. Looks okay. So this kid, the center, Parker Brailsford, is a guy that we could target in the 4th round or so-ish. So we should keep an eye on him. We do need backup interior offensive line. That's one that maybe we could get. I also wouldn't mind the Pat Coogan kid on Indiana. Maybe a late round pick. Seems like a good leader of men. I don't know. Kalen DeBoer seems a little excitable this evening. Maybe he's coaching for his job. All right. Well, 17-7. But Mateer is looking like he's having one of his good games with all of his funky mechanics and everything else, but he's hitting passes and running around. So we'll have to see if this Alabama defense can get a stop. It'd be nice. But nonetheless, I'm not seeing a first-round pick in Ty Simpson right now. Maybe he could develop into that. Maybe if he had better circumstances, he would look better. But I'm not seeing that with Ty Simpson right now. Whatever reason, it looks a lot different than earlier in the season. So that's not good. That's not good. See if there's any news. Lawrence Cager's still bouncing around the league. Washington Commanders elevated him. I guess they're playing tomorrow. Personally, I don't know how I'm supposed to pay attention to the NFL games tomorrow when I got to watch these college games. You know? We got to keep an eye on these college games. We got to know who's coming out, who's coming, who's not, who's doing this, who's doing that. And then I'm supposed to also follow some NFL games on a Saturday? That doesn't seem right. Kevin says he's displaying all the characteristics of a Jet starting quarterback. Yeah. Well, we'd like to reverse that trend, Kevin. That's kind of the point. We want one who doesn't do those things. I think that's why Mendoza is so intriguing. And more. I would say Mendoza and more, for me, 1 and 1A. 1A and 1B, I guess you should call it. But we don't know if Dante Moore's coming out. But that's what's intriguing about those two players. High IQ players with functional athleticism. In Moore's case, he has A+ athleticism. Good pocket presence and quick releases and all of that good stuff. But that's why it's so annoying that we might have to wind up going the free agency trade route. I really don't want to trade for anyone. Give up draft capital for Will Levis, which means we basically got to go the free agent route. And those guys are all not exciting either, for the most part. I mean, do you want a Will Levis, a Sam Howell, Brady Cook quarterback room? Because that's what you could have. Mateer, that's a routine throw. This Alabama defense is El Stinkerado. I mean, how many screens, how many wide receiver quick outs are we seeing here? You're playing way off, and they're just taking advantage, and then they're blocking you up. This is not how Alabama defense is played. C.J. Mosley must be furious right now. I bet you C.J.'s punching the air in front of his big TV. Going, what is this? This is not Alabama defense. What is going on here? And I would agree with him. This is not Alabama defense. Mateer takes a QB designated run, gets popped. Could Simpson possibly? Well, no, because Simpson, I mean, he could be, but the thing is, he's not displaying winning characteristics and traits, and so why would you want to take him at all? He's not proving, first of all, so the problem with Simpson is he has very few games started. So a lot of teams are going to say he doesn't have enough experience. And then when you watch him play, it's like, okay, yeah, he needs more experience. So you can't get that experience in the NFL. We've seen that before. That's what the Jets tried to do with Zach Wilson, and that's one of the mistakes we made. And you have to get it. So if he's not going to be ready to come out, and he's not going to get a grade from the advisory board in the first round, he might as well go back. And the question is, does Alabama really want him? Because they have a 5-star guy behind him, I think a redshirt freshman, if I'm not mistaken. So Alabama might want him to go into the portal. Get out of here, Simpson. Go down to Miami or go someplace. And if he's not ready for the draft, that's what he needs to do. Because he's not going to, I don't think he's going to go in the second round. Oh, you got to make that tackle. How can you miss all these tackles? Oh, my goodness. This Mateer guy is like, it's like a comedy show. He runs around. He throws in the most unorthodox manner. How does he throw this pass this way? Let's watch this replay. First of all, you got a clean shot. You got to sack him, number 3. Second of all, he's running. Now he's got a guy wide open. Look at how he throws it. Who throws a ball like that? Look at this. What is this? What's this? A guy dropped it, but who throws a ball like this? I don't understand this guy. He's like, this is some craziness. But anyway, so, a Simpson is not a guy that you want to think of that way. And if he doesn't, so basically, if he rises if he gets his draft stock back up to a first round pick, then he'll come out and he'll be worth it. But that means he's got to ball out, and they got to win, and they got to keep winning in these playoff games, and you got to see it over and over and over again because he has so few games started. He also has to get his game started up. A lot of the teams, he's going to be they dropped the punt. Oh, my goodness. They blocked it. What's going on? That's Tim Keenan. That's a guy that we might want right there for defensive tackle, not for special teams, but he's a good defensive tackle right there. That could be a guy we pick up. But so he needs to play more. He needs to have – that's just on the punter. He needs to increase his game started, which means he's got to start winning here, first with this game and then other games. And then he's got to play really, really well. So I would not that does not fit the bill there. There doesn't seem to be a Jackson Dart type who, for whatever reason, is graded in the second round, but the team thinks he's a first rounder, so you can get him late in the first and be happy with it. There's a nice pass. There does not seem to be that level. Like a guy like Trinidad Chambliss, you could, if he came out, but he's very small, number 1. And number 2, he runs around a lot. So small and running around in the NFL is not a good idea. And then so I don't know. I'd have to dig deeper into him, but I think he's going back. So I mean, there are guys that, oh my goodness, that's Marvin Jones Jr. Yes, that Marvin Jones. Remember our Marvin Jones? Well, he's got a son, and he plays for Oklahoma, and he just had a sack of the quarterback. 97 on the edge against 64. Well, you might want to block him 64. That was a pretty easy. See, like I can't put this one on Simpson when they don't block a guy. Now, you could say he's supposed to shift the line, and I don't know. There are some things the quarterback has to do, but that's more in the NFL than college usually. But still, the guy's a defensive end. You're a tackle. You usually got to block that guy. No. So, but there were quarterbacks I was kind of hoping would come out, like a Josh Hoover, for example, was a guy. Now, Josh Hoover is not going to be a first-round pick. He's too small. He doesn't have a gun, and his tape is too inconsistent. But the games when he's on, he's very surgical. So you could take a chance on a Josh Hoover in the 4th round. But of course, he probably got graded or got advice that he's a 4th, 5th round pick, and he's like, well, if I go back, I can improve my stock. So now he's going back. He's going into the transfer portal. Ugh. But that was a guy who might have fallen into that. Taylon Green is terrible. Why would you even mention Taylon Green? He sucks. Sure, he's 6'6" and he runs like a wind, but I mean, he's not a quarterback. That's not what we want. What we want, and he's going back to school anyway, I think. What we want is really, really, really high football IQ quarterbacks. The highest, the smartest guys we can get, because we're the Jets. We can't develop a Taylor Green. You think we could develop a Taylor Green? We couldn't even develop Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold or anybody. Taylor Green needs to be developed by some guru somewhere to play quarterback. He is tall and he runs fast, so that's good. But he needs to be developed by people who know how to develop quarterback. You think we know how to develop a quarterback? World Sack Center? We're the freaking Jets. We don't know how to develop anything. Hardly. So, no, we can't take any developmental people. We need people who are as close to finished product as possible. Now, Taylor Green might go somewhere to somebody eventually and turn out good. I'm not saying that. He could. He has tons of traits. He's sort of like Lenora Sellers. I mean, Lenora Sellers is going to be great for somebody, but he's probably not going to be great for us because we're not going to be able to develop that kid's talent. I mean, Lenora Sellers has the most talent of just about anybody I've ever seen. But we're not going to develop him because we don't know what we're doing. So, no. RPM Red Shogun is here. All right, good to see you, RPM. But yeah, so for us, that's part of the problem. We kind of need someone who's close to as finished as close to a finished product as possible. Because if you think we're going to develop somebody, there's just no evidence we can do that. So, but it is what about this guy's season? What about this guy? What about that guy? What about this one? What about that one? Even the guy from Harvard went into the transfer portal. People had started to talk about this kid out of Harvard. He's big, he put up some stats, and of course must be smart. He went to Harvard, but even he went back into the portal. So I don't know. With the money these guys can make in college these days, the portal and staying in college is a lot more attractive than it used to be. So we'll have to see. Our best hope is really, we got to hope Dante Moore has an excellent college football playoff. Hope that Oregon wins. Win, win, win. And and drive up his draft stock. So that way you got two top of the line guys at least. If there's just one, there's going to be a bidding war, and that's no good for anybody. Well, except for the people who are selling. Jonathan says, what player do you want the Jets to draft next year? Well, first we got to get through free agency so we know what we need, and then we'll know. Yeah. Yeah, we can't take any of these raw guys. I mean, I love Lenora Sellers, and whenever he comes out, he's not coming out this year. He's going to be next year or maybe the next year. But whenever Lenora Sellers comes out, I'm going to watch every single game of his in the NFL because that kid is phenomenal in terms of his traits. Just watching him on television is, fun. So I'm going to be like a Lenora Sellers fan. Talon is a senior. Okay, well, he's not coming here. So, like Lenora Sellers, I'll watch his games no matter what, no matter who he winds up playing for. Talon Green, this says redshirt senior. Yeah, well, I don't know if he has any eligibility left, but yeah, he's not right for the Jets, that's for sure. Might be right for somebody, but he's not right for the Jets. Tell you that much. We can't develop anybody. Can barely develop. We can't even develop anything. Well, thank you, RPM. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Certainly do appreciate it. Let's see if there's any late breaking news. So Alabama's trying to climb back into this game, but you look at this Alabama team. They have a lot of holes on this. I mean, this is a very strange Alabama team. I wonder how actually Alabama fans feel about this team this year. How about them Jets would like Stribling, wide receiver from Ole Miss? Stribling. Yeah, there's a lot of good wide receivers this year, and I do think we'll take one in the first 2 rounds. That's probable. And then we'll have a good room. I mean, one thing about whatever quarterback we get, we should have a pretty good wide receiver room if you think about it. Let's be optimistic about A.D. Mitchell and John Mechie. Then you got Garrett Wilson, and then first, a round, either round 1 or round 2 wide receiver this year. That could be a pretty good room. And Isaiah Williams, that's not bad. That's not a bad situation. And we have 80% of the line built. We just need one more guard. Well, this isn't happening. The Giants, as far as we know, the Giants love Jackson Dart. So the Giants, they're just going to stick with Jackson Dart. I mean, I guess you could say maybe the new head coach wouldn't like him. But as far as we know, the Giants love Jackson Dart, and he's their guy. So there's no, what they need is lots of draft picks. So World Sac Center, who would you get if Mendoza and Moore not available? Well, that's what we've been discussing all night. We'd probably have to get a free agent, and it's not looking good. So, but if we're picking fifth, shoot, man. At that point, you just go BPA because we have so many needs. So if Arvell Reese is there, you just take him. All right, Mateer back to pass, looking, throws over the middle. Woof. Almost throws it over his head, but this Mateer guy is like a roller coaster. But yeah, it would just be BPA. If we're not getting a quarterback in round 1, then we use our first 2 picks on BPA. So like if we could get an Arvell Reese, that'd be perfect. And then the second pick, probably just get a wide receiver and and then we would just you got to sign the veteran first. I mean, I think for if we're signing a veteran, free agent, we can make a pretty good case that, hey, you should come here, because you're going to have opportunity. If it looks like we can't get anybody, can't get Mendoza or Moore, then, you sell to the free agent, hey, you're going to have great opportunity here because, we're going to draft a wide receiver, we got we got Mitchie and Mechie, we got Garrett Wilson. We're going to get a first or second round wide receiver. You're going to have, guys to throw to. We got Mason Taylor, a decent tight end. And, so we can make that case. But, the problem is there's not going to be someone on the market, it looks like, that's really that appealing. So that's the depressing thing that we've been talking about all night. It's like if we can't get one of those two, it's going to be a rough off season. It's pretty rough. Oh my God. What the hell? Why? What happened here? What is this? How do you throw this pass right to the defense? What in God's name? Well, that's interceptable. So you can see this Mateer guy, right? Like this is the essence of Mateer. He does some incredible things, and then he does some incredibly dumb things. This is a guy, this Mateer guy, even though he's very talented in certain areas and aspects, this is not a guy we can have on our team ever. John Mateer, I don't want to hear anybody talk about John Mateer and the Jets. Maybe he could work for some team, but this is not a guy we can have. He's like dime store Will Levis, this guy. He runs around like Will Levis. What is he looking at here? Like he's looking right at the guy. He just threw it to him. I'd like someone to explain that one. I'd like a Kurt Warner breakdown of this. What in God's name was that? He's looking right at him. Only thing is, he must have thought the receiver was going to dart in. I guess. What else could it be? Boy, oh boy, this guy. This guy over here. John Mateer, he cannot be on the Jets ever, right? He's too much. How about them Jets? How much you willing to trade up? Whatever it costs. Me personally, if we can get him, because you got to sell hope to the fan base, man. Like, this fan base needs some hope here. You can't, it's hard to, if we were able to go up, no matter what the cost is, it costs a lot, but don't worry. We got 3 first-round picks in 27. We could give a team realistically 2 first-round picks in 27 and the swap back one this year and an additional one this year if we really wanted to get crazy, and still have a first-round pick next year and not be completely a barren of a first-round pick next year. We could go nuts if we wanted to. I don't know if Mooj is going to do that, but if we really, because at some point, the fan base needs hope, and Mendoza would be hope. Mendoza or Dante Moore would be hope. And that's, at this point in time, I think that's important. And we'll figure out the rest. We'll spend like crazy in free agency. We got tons of money for the cap and all that. So we'll spend this year. Woody's definitely going to authorize spending, including cash spending. So that's not a problem. Woody's going to give AG a big cash budget this year, and that's good. And that means we can create lots of cap space by using void years and all this stuff. And we'll probably have to overpay for some people. But I think we're going to be spending a lot because, no matter how good you do in the draft, the kids are all just rookies. I mean, and you're starting to see some of the guys hitting the rookie wall now and all. So, there's only so much impact they're going to have that you can get out of the draft anyways. So, if we can get Mendoza, I'm of the mind you go get him. Or more. Those two are the two at the top for me. I think for most people. So I would trade up. I would trade up because of who we are, where we are. Not that it's great to trade up. It's really not usually. But we're the Jets, and we need hope. We need the fan base to have some hope here. And just going with a free agent or two at quarterback and saying we're going to take BPA and we're going to get Arvell Reese or whoever, that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it for the fan base. I just don't think so. Now, because remember, if you get a Mendoza or more, you get the quarterback in the draft and you're selling hope, well, that translates into money. Ticket sales, merchandise, all the season ticket renewal. All the season ticket holders will be anxious to go see this new rookie quarterback that we got, whichever one it is. It affects the business side. And remember, the business side is very, very important to Woody. The one guy he never fires is who? Jaime. Jaime El Hay. And that's because Jaime does a good job on the business side of making him money. So I think that's the way it's going to go. And that's the way I'd probably go too. Although it goes against my general philosophy of never trading up. In this case, for this franchise, in this situation, because it's not, if there was a bucket of guys that were all pretty much the same, if there were 5 guys, you put them in a bucket, whichever one we get, fine. If it was one of those drafts, all right, you don't got to trade up. We'll just sit where we are. But this isn't one of them. This ain't one of them. This ain't one of them. This ain't one of them. This is, this may be a 1 or 2 QB in the first round draft. So they got a first down on a penalty. Not sure about that. 22 seconds. Let's see what crazy bullshit Mateer does here. Well, throws an out pass. Okay. As soon as I say that, he just throws a nice outbreaker. New regime, but the same head coach, security guard. Yeah. To be honest with you, Jonathan, I don't know why Green Bean is so fascinated with that guy. I believe this comes from Green Bean. Green Bean's kind of like obsessed with the guy. Modstriani or something his name is. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. He's just our security guy. We got to have somebody do that job. So Mateer just flops on the ground. Not sure what that was all about. 14 seconds. They got timeouts. I guess they used them. How about then? What happens if Mendoza does not do well in the CFP? Well, that's a good question. The question will be what does that look like? So he doesn't have to throw for 300 yards, but if let's say he's throwing picks all over the place and stuff, that'll hurt his draft stock. But people will say, well, because if Indiana's winning, that's going to mean probably that he's playing well. That's generally what happens. But if he's not playing well, then it's going to be they lose and they're knocked out probably. So it kind of depends what that looks like. But if it's just one game where he looks bad, then people will say, well, he just had one bad game. He is the root common denominator. I'm sure there's a lot of people who work for the Jets who've been here a long time. I mean, Jaime El Hay is a common denominator. How come no one ever talks about him? Jaime El Hay is the reason is probably the reason we got Aaron Rodgers over Derek Carr. And Derek Carr, now we know, would have been a much better choice. Although you can't really judge it because the 23 team Rodgers got hurt. And so that ruined that whole thing and then wasn't himself in 24. But the whole thing about Derek Carr was you could sign him for just money. You didn't have to give up those draft picks, and then you would have had a better team around him, and you wouldn't have had all the cap hits that we had to suffer because of the signing bonus. So made sense that way. But then again, it's hard to judge that whole thing because Rodgers got hurt. So, Jonathan, do you like Joe Caporoso? No. Why would I like him? Jonathan, do you think I call it brain deads instead of badlands for no reason? There's a reason. I personally think once All City comes to New York, it's going to be over for Badlands and Jets X Factor. I could be wrong about that, but that's my personal feeling. I think those guys produce a lot of content, and so you got to give them kudos for that. But it's not really great content, in my opinion. A lot of bad, wrong stuff, and too much sort of nostalgia for the past and comparing everybody to Jericho Cotchery and and whatnot. So, so I would say no. I'd say no. But then again, I'm a harsh grader, so and I got to say, well, and they're much more successful than I am. So who am I to talk, right? it's like Badlands is way more successful than you, Frankie. It's like, yeah, well, give them that much. They got a lot of people working on it, and old Frankie's just old Frankie. They got a cast of millions over there. Uh, Now, I would say Jet's X Factor is really the best, you know, because if you think about the amount of information and expertise you get in Joe Blewett's breakdowns, that's excellent. And then you combine that with Robbie Sabo when he goes to training camp, he gives you the best training camp reports. That's excellent. And then if you're into some of the data and stats and things like that, Michael Nania breaks that down. So if you're looking for, and then on top of that, they have some reporters like that. Not that I think they do a good job, they don't, but they have them like Nick Fartria and Connor Short or whatever his name is, and and so they have some opinion. They got film breakdown. They have data analytics. They got people at training camp. What more do you need? And the information that Joe Blewett gives you is actually useful and helpful and correct. Whereas some of the stuff that the Badlands people put out is not. It's just garbage, to be honest. Now, I will say, though, that sometimes they have inside information. So the Badlands people also have somebody named Will Parkinson's disease, as I call him. And for example, Will Parkinson has a brother, and Will Parkinson's brother is named Charlie Parkinson, and Charlie Parkinson works in the general manager's office for Oklahoma University. So this team that we're playing tonight, Will Parkinson has a brother, Charlie Parkinson, who works in the general manager's office of Oklahoma. So because of that, he gets a lot of insight because of that and the fact that he was like the first Jet podcaster back in the day. He gets a lot of inside information. That's something old Frankie doesn't get. I don't get any inside information. No one's sending me insider info, but they do get inside information for those reasons at times. And so because of that, they know certain information, bits of info. So you got to give them credit for what they do well. But overall, no. And also about Joe Caparosa, why does he always stare up at the ceiling? Why is he always like this on his videos? Now I'm going to talk about the Jets while staring up at the ceiling. Why? What? That's disturbing. What's going on there? What's happening? I don't understand. So that's a long-winded answer. But we're at halftime now, so let's take a little halftime bio break, shall we? And then we'll return. Talk amongst yourselves. Dooby dooby doo. We could. We need to take a look at some of these quarterback scores. We do come up with grades for these quarterbacks, college quarterbacks. So might as well enter these guys into the old spreadsheet. Ty Simpson. Today is the 19th. I guess I'll do another video at some point about all the grades that we did do for all these college quarterbacks. Although the members of this channel get those for free. So consider being a member. Simpson right now 0, 0, 2. That's 8, 5 bad. 1. And right now, oops. So we don't want to do that. C7. 1.2. So right now he's got a C minus. No bueno. No bueno. This is versus Oklahoma. CFP round 1. So Simpson right now has a C minus on the Frankie quarterback grading system. John Mateer, let's see how John Mateer's looking. Just plug in all the numbers, all the data. John Mateer. 0, 1. Oops. 0, 1, 5, 11, 4, 4, 1, 37. He gets a C plus. So Mateer having the better game so far, according to my system. So 5, 11, 4. Yep. There you go. C minus, C plus. That's what we got going on. The half C plus for John Mateer. Simpson has C minus. No bueno, because Ty Simpson needed to have an A level game. He needed to be killing it. He is not doing so. He is not doing so far. And I think all the problems that have plagued Alabama all year, can't run the ball, can't pass protect, not great on defense. It's basically the same team. And then Oklahoma is like a good defense. They're not really running the ball either, but Mateer is taking them on the roller coaster ride of John Mateer. Yeah. Looks great at times, running around as a rocket arm, but then throwing picks and throwing weird passes, and it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? Saturday. So tomorrow we got Miami, Texas A&M. Then we got Tulane and Ole Miss. That's probably a game to skip. Jonathan, does the grade improve with the win? No. We are not believers here at the FSPN in quarterback wins. The only thing we're grading, Jonathan, is the throws. Now, the system also has other things like the running and all of that. But what I have found is that when you grade the throws, you're in the know. You can fool yourself if you start thinking about running and pocket presence and pocket awareness. You can note those things down if you want to. But to me, when you grade the throws, you get a lot of the processing and, you know, ability to read defenses. If you're consistently making throws, especially elite throws, you're going to get those things. You're not going to be somebody who doesn't have a process. Well, shouldn't say that. It's unlikely you're going to be a quarterback who can process really well and make a lot of bad throws. And similarly, if you're processing poorly, you're not going to make a lot of elite throws. So that's what we grade. We make notes for some of the other things, but quarterback wins don't matter to my system. Winning matters, but winning is a team thing. So what I'm trying to do is isolate the play of the quarterback to determine, is the quarterback really good? Or, because there's some quarterbacks who are just on really great teams and they win a lot of games because the team's really great and they're sort of average and do okay. But the whole system is designed to tell you who's actually good, who's actually great, who's actually bad, and factoring in QB wins would not tell you that. So this is not a system for, determining who's the best team. This is not a system for determining which quarterback runs around the best. This is not really a system that is going to tell you who has the most charisma. It's going to tell you who's the best at playing quarterback. That's what it does. So it's working out pretty good so far, I think. And it separates out all those things. So, for example, like you get credit if you throw a good ball and the guy drops it. You get credit in my system. It's not you're the quarterback. Guy drops the ball, that's on him, not on me. Similarly, you don't get extra points when you throw a routine pass and a guy goes 80 yards for a touchdown. So, just checking something here. Okay. The studio thing dropped out for a second. These things that YouTube sends you are not helpful at all. They make you freak out. Everything seems to be okay. Let me know if everything's okay out there. Looks okay from my point of view. But yeah, that's really the point of the system, is to separate out all the bullshit that we get with quarterback play. And keep in mind, all of the data analytics, including the advanced things like EPA and all these things, are based on the stats from the game. And that's one thing. That's all fine and good. But stats can lie very easily. Quarterbacks should not be penalized for drops, for example. And quarterbacks should not get all of the yak stats. You throw a 5-yard pass, a guy goes 90 yards for a touchdown. Why does a quarterback get 95 yards in a touchdown? Mostly the receiver did all that work. So you should get credit for throwing a routine pass, but you shouldn't get all this statistical goodness of yak. The yak belongs to the receiver. He did all the work. What are we giving it to the quarterback for? So the system just is designed to tell me who is good at playing quarterback position. Not running back position, not running around, not jumping and running and spinning and all this. Just play quarterback. Read the defense, throw the damn ball where it's supposed to be. Who's good at that? That's what we want to know. This is an odd commercial they have. Some of these commercials are getting wild now, man. Uh, we need this game to start soon. I think the college half times are much longer than the NFL half times. Seems to me. You can watch New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest. Wow, he's still alive? That's amazing. They're still going on and on with the halftime report. Can we get on with it? For God's sake, man. They just want to make these events longer and stretch them out longer and longer and longer. Kind of crazy. Crazy like Juracy. Do, do, do. Emmett Smith is doing a commercial. We'll just keep an eye on any news. That way we can tell you about breaking news on the air. The Jets, in case you missed it earlier today, the Jets worked out 4 kickers. Jets worked out 4 kickers today, and they worked out Luke Elzinga, a punter, and Alex Ward, a long snapper from UCF. So we worked out a bunch of kickers and one punter today. So that happened. And Dodgers, yeah, it doesn't not going to be any late breaking news at 10 p.m. probably, but yeah, it doesn't appear to be much going on in the way of news. Boy, there's a lot. They sold a lot of commercials. They sold so many commercials. Oh my goodness. Or, or health, or what? Or to learn more. They sold so many commercials. Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed, they did. All right, maybe we're ready for some football. Alabama has -3 rushing yards. I mean, how do you expect a quarterback to operate when his team has -3 rushing yards? I mean, it's craziness. I mean, this is Alabama we're talking about. I, I continue to be amazed at the lack of talent that Kalen DeBoer has acquired onto his team, and it's Ala frickin' Bama. Be one thing if this was Ferris State, but it ain't. And now, um, Alabama's going to receive the kick in the second half. So we will continue on with our Ty Simpson analysis. I guess we'll just cut this in half. First half, second half. But I don't know how you can really expect a guy to really function. You can't even run the damn ball. Your pass protection is very shoddy. Caden Proctor is not a first round pick, by the way. Absolutely not. You know, there's supposed to be a talent factory, this Alabama, just like Georgia and just like some of these other schools, Ohio State, Michigan, these big schools. It's supposed to be talent factories. I'm not seeing talent factory. Now, Jeremy Bernard, there's a guy I like, even though he just fumbled the ball. Routine throw. He does have a little, does get the ball punched out a little bit too much, although he was definitely down on that one, seems like. A little ball security issue there for Jeremy. But where's Ryan Williams? Ryan Williams was supposed to be some big wide receiver this year. Where does he even play anymore? Like, what's going on with that guy? All these people were supposed to be big time prospects, and it's not turning out too good for them. Tell you that much. Although I do like Josh Cuevas. I do like Parker Brailsford. Oof. Well, let's just make sure. I would think this is a bad pass, but oh yeah, that's over his head. But I do wish they would slow it down. Because, like, it's hard to tell sometimes if it's really catchable or if it's over his head. All right, 3rd and 6. He did not even get that off. They didn't. Oh, well, you can't wait that long to call a foul. Oh, they're saying false start. Well, on Proctor the doctor, because I don't think he's going to be able to play in the NFL. Well, he's so athletic, he'll play, but they're down in 11. See if they bring this blitz. I don't think so. Well, they do. They hold up pretty well. Oh, see now, how am I going to grade this pass? Something happened with Ryan Williams. Seemed like a decent pass. Yeah, it's just a drop. He's got to catch that. See, I don't know, man. Like some of these people, they're supposed to be good, not so good. But you can't penalize the quarterback there. It's just a drop. But Coach DeBoer's got to be pretty livid. He can't get basic performance out of people who are supposed to be superstars. I don't want Ryan Williams on my team. As far as the Jets, no, sir. He cannot be a Jet. Too much going on. Too much going on. We don't know what it is, but there's too much going on. Too much going on with that guy. So, some breaking news. Current expectation is that Tennessee star redshirt sophomore cornerback Colton Hood is going to enter the NFL draft. Was second team All SEC and a Jim Thorpe Award semifinalist. Is viewed by NFL scouts as an early round prospect. So there you go for Colton Hood fans. So there you go. Colton Hood entering the draft. And, it'll be good to do some mock drafts after we know the order of the draft and who all is coming into the draft. Hard to do these mock drafts without knowing who's going to actually declare for the draft. Kind of difficult. Kind of difficult. But, you do the best you can. All right, so let's see what Alabama's defense can do against this roller coaster ride known as John Mateer over here. 17-17 game. It doesn't really feel like Alabama's been in it, but it's tied. Guess that's what happens when you have a interception for a touchdown. They bring the blitz. Oh, is that a drop? Is that a drop or was it behind him? Can I get a replay? Can I get a replay, please? Thank you. That seems like a drop to me. Yep. But could have had too much zip on it also. You could say, well, he shouldn't throw it that hard. But this guy does have quite a fastball, you might say. Third down and looks like about 6 or so. Tier throws it behind. No good. Throwing behind, rarely a good. No good on that one. Had him wide open, didn't set the feet, throws behind. He actually jumped in the air to throw that. The old, let's jump in the air and throw the ball. Oh, my goodness. Stop jumping. John Mateer cannot be a Jets quarterback. Let's just all agree right now. Oh, that should be a foul. Would be in the NFL. College, they let a lot. Oh, now they're throwing a flag now. I was going to say in college, they let a lot of stuff go relative to the NFL. But I think all of us right now, everybody in the chat, everybody in Jet land, we need to come to an agreement that John Mateer cannot be a Jet, right? He might be good for somebody. It might work out for him in some situation. But it's not the Jets. He's not a Jet. He cannot be on the Jets. That should be a foul on 44, I think. He's way out of bounds. He's running. You didn't need to put your shoulder into him. That's not necessary. Unnecessary stuffness. Unnecessary stuff. Yeah, but I think we need to all agree. The chat, you need to agree with me. Just say no to John Mateer. Just say no. Gotta be. Just say no for the Jets. Some other team, maybe they could make use of him. Some other team, maybe they could coach him. I don't think we have what it takes to coach a guy who jumps up in the air to throw a pass. This is not the NBA, you know. This is the NFL. We don't jump up in the air, turn around, swivel, and then throw the ball. That's not what we do here. We're not even good at throwing when our feet are on the ground. So that's not going to work. Not going to work. Not going to do it. I don't know. Seems like the chat is sleeping. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Need to know if you're sleeping. Fell asleep. Everything looks okay on my end. Jonathan agrees. All right, so we still have the chat. That's good. Jonathan agrees. All right. We made an agreement. Everybody in the chat, you're now in a blood contract. We agree. John Mateer is not Jets material. Nope, 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 no. No, Mr. Net Warrior. No. Nope. He cannot be on our team. He's not good for us. It may be good for somebody else. We can't even snap the ball to the quarterback properly. We cannot develop these people who are jumping around, throwing a ball behind people. We can't do it because we're the Jets. You understand who we are? We're the Jets. We can't even develop Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, people with actual talent. Well, Mateer is very talented also, but, we can't develop anybody. That's been proven. And so, no. Mateer cannot be on our team at all. No late round flyers, no early round criers, nada. Off limits. Not for us. That's also what scouting helps you do. Yeah, it's a blood contract between us in the chat. And don't forget, I'm the unpaid Jet Scout. Somehow I'm going to get my scouting reports up to, up to Muji. Tampa Jet fan is here. He says, I'm not sleeping. I was just listening as I watch. All right. Well, we got to check because, sometimes YouTube sends me these little messages saying, hey, you got a bitrate problem. I don't know what's going on. And then the chat is quiet, and then I don't know what's happening. Hey, here's a run. Look at this guy. We got some. Hold on to the ball, 4. We got some yards. He was so excited. We got some blocking. Look at that blocking. Nice. And a good cutback on 4's part. That's not Jam Miller. That's some other guy. All right, we got some running yardage. Jet fan says, me anyway. Mr. Net Warrior. By the way, all right. Thank you, Mr. Net Warrior. You win the appreciation of the day. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciated. All right, now Alabama's got the ball on the plus 30-yard line. Can they do anything with this drive? Like block people. Simpson back to pass, throws. What in the world? It's not looking good for Simpson. Now he's not even doing basic things. How do you not put that on him? 100% of the time. My goodness. So I think Simpson is he's falling away. Falling away. These young players. Plenty of time. Throws it deep. Oh, did he get it? All right. Well, we got to give him at least great. I don't think it was elite. So, makes up for it. That's at least a great pass. I think it would be characterized as catchable but imperfect deep balls. Can I get a replay? Okay. This is fairly deep. It's 30 yards. Well, 40 with the drop back. That is, catchable. Yeah, I'll give him a great. All right. Good. Redeemed himself a little bit with that one. But still, routine throws you should hit 100% of the time. Shouldn't be any problems. Now we'll see if Crazy Man Mateer can do something. Good job by Brooks. It's interesting because Alabama is supposed to have 2 first-round-ish, wide receivers, one being Ryan Williams. And Ryan Williams is nowhere to be found. They're throwing to Brooks. They're throwing to this guy. They're throwing to that guy. What the heck happened to Ryan Williams? Supposed to be like a first-round type wide receiver. Now, Jeremy Bernard, I think, is more in the second-round, range. But I like Jeremy Bernard. He's very versatile. I like him for the Jets. You can put him at running back. You can put him at wide receiver. You can put him at tight end. You can put him at quarterback even, wildcat quarterback. So that's a guy I like a lot. Hasn't been a big factor in this one. But I would really like to know what happened to what is going on, the mystery of Ryan Williams. Like, does this need to be a Sherlock Holmes case, like the case of the missing wide receiver? What happened to Ryan Williams? What is going on? Somebody needs to find out. Maybe we need to put Pablo on the case. Pablo Torre finds out. Well, what can he find out? What happened to Ryan Williams? 3-4 alignment for Alabama. Mateer looking sacked. No bueno. 3-4. They have 5 people to block. They got 3 on the line. They just don't block one guy. Well, that's not ideal. 31 just waited. Then he was like, wait, there's no reason to wait. Let me go get him. Yeah, get him. 2nd and 15. Alabama walks up one linebacker and another sack. So now they're doing their thing. But Mateer not getting rid of the ball here. Just waiting too long. And pass protection breaks down. Good job by 90. Going more with a 3-4 alignment in this one. That's a routine throw. Just make the tackle and make them bunt. Too many Sakalakas. You get that many Sakalakas, you're going to set you back. Check. Yeah, but interceptions, sacks, crazy throws from jumping, this is not what we want as a Jet quarterback prospect. Let's see if Ryan Williams can catch a pass, shall we? Well, and if so, Mateer will probably go back and then people will say, well, he's going to have a second year in the system of Benny Arbuckle or whatever his name is. And don't worry, the second year in the system, that's, when he's going to figure it out. He's going to stop jumping. He's going to stop throwing from the air. What's your favorite platform to throw on? Oh, the air. I like to throw after jumping and spinning. I like to jump, spin, and then throw a pass. What? Yeah, that's my favorite platform. The old jump and spin around, throw a pass, see where it goes type of thing. Yeah, but you're not 5 years old. I don't care. That's how I want to play. But you're not 5 anymore. That's fine if you're a 5-year-old in your house with a Nerf football or something. But this is the SEC. What are you doing? Well, that's how I play. This is what you got me for. Oh. All right. Well, I guess we'll just ride with that. So. Nothing really to speak of on any of these wires. Checking the wires for you guys. I'm checking the wires here. Checking the wires. Oh. Well, somebody said Ryan Williams is 18 years old, so I guess he's not a big prospect right now. But at 18 years old, he's a baby, so maybe something's going on with him. Who knows? Maybe in a couple of years he'll be ready to rock and roll. Fields did that also. Yeah, we can't have any jumpings. I mean, sometimes you could do a jump pass. There is a place for it. Like if you just can't, you could, like Bo Nix does it a lot actually. So there are times when jumping to get it over, you could justify it, but not when you're trying to throw it 10 yards down the line. It's usually like by the goal line and everybody's all stacked up and you got to get over, But yeah, you don't want to habitually, especially if you're trying to get something on the throw. I mean, it speaks a lot to his arm strength, to be able to throw the ball 10 yards down the field in the air. That's, takes a lot of arm talent. But oof, they tried a QB power. That was you need blocking, people. You have to block. What are you doing? Holly Rowe reporting. Now, Holly Rowe is one of the is probably the best sideline reporter, I would say. Would you guys agree? Holly Rowe, number one sideline reporter. She's enthusiastic. She loves her job. You could tell, and she does a great job. She's not just there for the attention like some of these people. Routine. I would rank Holly Rowe number one of all the sideline reporting people. Most of them are just there because they want attention. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. What if we got Marvin Jones Jr.? Should we get Marvin Jones Jr.? We had Marvin Jones. Should we get Marvin Jones Jr.? I mean, he looks kind of like his dad, body type wise. Oh, what is going on with these people? How can you drop this? Jeremy, I was just saying we want you on our team. If you're going to be eating dropsicles like this, defensive holding is going to get bailed out. But still, you can't be dropping the ball, Jeremy. You're supposed to be a prospect. I was just saying we want you on our team. Now I'm not so sure. You're wide open, sitting there. Guy throws you the ball. It's right in your hands and you drop it. What's going on here? I don't understand that. When he goes down on his knees, my goodness, what a flawed team this is. Now they got Jeremy in the backfield and they hand it to him. He gets no yardage. I don't know, man. Like, what what are we doing? Looks like he had no ball tracking skills whatsoever. He's supposed to be a prospect. I mean, when I was 7 years old, I could make that play. I mean, nobody could catch fly balls better than me in a PS 207 schoolyard. I tell you that much. Don't even try. People didn't even try. They couldn't even compare. Me, 7 years old, catching fly balls. Nobody better. No, nobody. Nobody in the whole neighborhood. I don't care what age you were. You couldn't top old Frankie catching fly balls in the PS 207 schoolyard. No way. Know why? Because I practiced for 72 hours a day at it. I got nothing else to do. Why not? I was the best fly ball catcher. I could go right over the fence and catch it. I was so good at that. 3rd and 5 running. There he goes. He is a pretty good athlete, better than you think. So he's got some pretty good foot speed. So that's a hold on Proctor on the left. Got away with it. See him outrunning those linebackers, so he's got pretty good speed. But look at Proctor. This is a hold, I think. How's that not a hold? Well, the passing game is starting to look a little bit better, anyways. But they still can't really run the ball. They basically had one run the whole game. And other than that, they've been getting nada. Not a damn thing. Ugh. What is wrong with these people? Never seen so many dropsicles eaten. It's a damn ball, man. Oh, Jason and Julie Simpson. Now, Jason Simpson is a head football coach, college level. And that's why you kind of thought when he was having all this success in the beginning of the year, you were like, well, his experience doesn't matter. He's been a quarterback his whole life. Well, that theory went out the window. Still can't run the ball. Now it's fourth down. They'll kick a field goal here. I've never seen an Alabama team who can't run the damn ball. It's crazy. Yeah, Michigan wants to hire Kalen DeBoer. First question I'd ask in an interview: how come you couldn't run the damn ball with Alabama? You think you're going to run it here? You have basically every athlete in you could want at your disposal to recruit. You couldn't get guys to block people? What is going on here? You want a job in Michigan? You couldn't do the job in Alabama. Get out of here. Might as well stay in Alabama. That's what I think. That's what I think. Well, we're in commercial now. Well, if the score remains the same, it'll be interesting to see how many of the Oklahoma dudes come out. Marvin Jones Jr. might come out. We might have to draft Marvin Jones Jr. How about that? Bring back the glory days with old Marvin Jones Jr. Might have to grab him. Never know. You never know. You go, Jets. Doesn't seem to be any breaking news either. Hmm? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't think really that Alabama can really progress in this playoff with the as flawed a team as they have. They can't run the ball. Man, they can't run the ball. Passing game's inconsistent. The receivers are dropping everything. Uh, the defense is okay, but it's not really up to Alabama standard, to be honest. So they may pull out a win here, but on the other hand, you got John Mateer, so he's a roller coaster. He may give you some wild plays here. He may jump off his left foot and throw it 60 yards into a tornado, and then it takes the ball to the end zone, and then his guy catches it. And that's the John Mateer experience, the JME. Crazy man playing football. There he goes, running for his life, refuses to slide. Well, there's only 4:08 remaining in the third quarter, so there's tons and tons of time remaining. They're only down by 10, but they haven't scored in a long, long time. So there's that. And they're doing quarterback runs. Didn't get the first down. The old quarterback run for 2 yards. It's not what you're looking for. Not what you're looking for the most part. Third and 1, and he's in the shotgun. And he does quarterback run again. Well, he got stopped, but did he get there? That's the question. Looks like quarterback running is what they want, and looks like they're going to give him a first down. Might want to challenge it. Might want to challenge it. Oh, another run. Man, they really do not trust John Mateer to run this offense. I guess after all the jumping and spinning and whatnot. I mean, it's only 10 points, so they don't need to be in 2-minute offense or anything like that. But you would think they'd want to run some sort of passing attack other than just having the quarterback run around. There's 2 minutes left now in the third quarter, and you're still on your own side of the field, and you're still running the ball. That's going to take it to around a minute remaining. The winner of this game advances to face Indiana. So if Alabama wins, Mendoza against this Alabama defense, I don't know. You never know. I mean, Alabama does have good players on defense. Keenan's good. The safety's good. Some of their linebackers are pretty good. I can't say it's a bad defense. It's just not overwhelmingly, geez. It's just not overwhelming, I guess you could say. I don't know, but it'll be good to compare. If Alabama does make it to the next round, it'll be interesting to compare Mateer's game against Alabama and then how Mendoza does. Maybe we'll do live charting of old Fernando. Perhaps, depends on the time of the game. Ay Karate is here. Another quarterback run. They're going to run this guy into the ground. Congrats, FSPN, on 1K subs. Thank you, High Karate, and thank you to everybody who has subscribed. If you're new here, please do subscribe. We got a new goal, High Karate. We're trying to get up to 10,000. Because with 1,000, you exist on YouTube. So now I exist on YouTube, so that's good. But 10,000, then you really are at least somewhat of somebody. And now the third quarter's over. They've been running the quarterback power, And now they still haven't scored any points since early on in the game. And they continue to run the quarterback into the ground. So I don't know what's going on with Oklahoma's offense. But yeah, 1,000 subs, very important milestone. Now we're on to 10,000. Now we're on to 10,000. So if you're new here, please do subscribe. We need more and more. The more subscribers we have, the better the content will become. uh, so, yeah. Subscribe and also maybe think about becoming an Inner Circle member because Inner Circle members get all the stuff. They're the ones who really are, above average, let's say. Subscribers are great, members even better. Keep up the good work. It will happen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Hi Karate. I'm putting it out there. We got to get up to 10K. We're going to keep putting in the work and also need more Inner Circle members. You want the quarterback grading system? Well, you got to be an Inner Circle member. If you want the up-to-date rosters of the Jets with all the comings and goings, who's on our roster right now? Do we know? Well, Frankie knows. And so do the Inner Circle members because they get updated on it every time there's a change. Yeah. Can't even tell you how many college quarterbacks I graded this year. I don't know. How many tabs are on this thing? Let's count them up. Holy smokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. It's probably, I don't know, 50. I mean, of course, I did multiple, certain prospects many times, but. And actually, Ty Simpson is going to be the one who probably has the most. Well, it depends how far Nando goes. Because it looked like early in the year that Simpson was going to be a top prospect, and he fell off. Bum. But between Fernando and Dante and Ty, they're going to have the most. But all those grades also available to Inner Circle members. Really? It's really all about the Inner Circle. Those people are usually your above average people. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Subscribers, probably average. And then non-subscribers, I mean, going to be a lot of below average folks. You got to imagine. 50 Cent wearing a OU thing. What does 50 Cent have to do with Oklahoma University? I thought he was from the streets of Brooklyn and Queens. But he's also here for OU. What's going on? Can we get back to the football game or can we? Fourth quarter beginning, 27 Alabama, 17 Oklahoma. Oklahoma was up 17-0. It's been 27 points. Unresponded to, unanswered. Okay, thank you, 50 Cent. Now we're getting back to football, please. Thank you. Second down and 10. A lot of men at the line of scrimmage for the defense. Mateer back to pass, throws, no good. They call pass interference or something. I just thought it was an incomplete pass. Ray Hubbard, the safety. Yeah. Oh, that's a little ticky tack. That's a little ticky-tack, my opinion. A little ticky-tack. Jonathan says, what did I miss? You missed everything, Jonathan. You missed it all. It's all over. It's all over but the crying and the screaming. All right, Mateer now back in the shotgun over there. Almost drops it. Now he's looking, throws. Got a man. Wide open. That's not good for Alabama. So there you go. Now they're right back in it. They got the gunslinger. Johnny Mateer, gunslinger. I give him a solid throw on that one. Yeah, he's a gunslinger, karate. When you got the gunslinger, that's the value of slinging guns. You're never out of it, right? It's one of the reasons you don't want one of these guys with a pea shooter, because there's certain times you're just not going to be able to do anything. But you got a gunslinger, he can do something like this. I gave him solid. Let's see if this should be great, actually. Where is he at? He's at the 45-yard line. That's probably great, considering the depth. It's 35, 40 yards downfield. Even more. Oh, no. He didn't throw to the deep guy. He threw to that guy. Yeah, I'll give him a... Oh, I did give him a great. Okay. But he was quite wide open. You got to cover people. And no pass rush either on that one. Bounced around. Even when he's bouncing around the pocket, he's basically what's called a body thrower or an arm thrower, which takes a tremendous amount of arm talent, but there are guys who do that. They're not recommended, though. Now let's see how Alabama responds. Can anybody play defense around here? Grab. I don't see any tackling. All grabbing. Grab. How about some tackling? Whoa. This is at Oklahoma. Yeah. So let's see if the Alabama receivers can catch the ball. Be nice. They start with a run, and then it goes nowhere as per usual, because they don't know how to block anybody. Imagine an Alabama team that can't block. Could you imagine? It's hard to imagine. But that's the way it is. No blocking, no run game. Receivers can't catch the ball, and they have 27 points. Changing the play and shot clock running down. Whew. Now that's a beauty. That's the kind of arm talent that we thought we were getting. That's an elite throw for Simpson. 30, 40, 50, 30. That's a 44-yard perfectly placed in the bucket. That's what we thought we were getting with this guy. Hasn't been too many of those in recent weeks. Now they go for a handoff that loses a yard. What a surprise. This is hard to watch how bad this running game is. At some point, I think you do have to abandon your running game. I mean, other than maybe some jet sweeps or something. But you can't keep running the ball, trying to run it. You can't run it. 3rd and 11. Proctor gets beat on the left side. I mean, this team stinks. Of all these people are supposed to be good, but they actually stink. Caden Proctor stinks. All he does is get beat and hold people. Man, what a flawed team. Another person we should not have on the Jets is Caden Proctor. not that we would draft him because he's a tackle, and it kind of sucks because he could be one of those guys. He's athletic enough. It's supposed to be a high draft pick. Could be one of those guys at a tackle position that goes early that could convince some of these other teams, hey, let's take this tackle. He's really good. But uh, but he's not. So now he's not a first round pick. Notre Dame is a lot better than Bama. Yeah, Bama, that was an interesting problem that the committee had, right? Because Alabama had basically 2 losses all year, but then they lost the SEC championship game. And if you kept them out, then that meant you were penalizing them for playing in a championship game, which some of the other people didn't have to do, including people like Ole Miss and people who are in the SEC but didn't qualify for the championship game but were higher rated. And so they could sit home, not play a championship game, and reap the benefit. So that was a problem for the committee. And then the other problem for the committee was, okay, then it comes down to Notre Dame and Miami beat Notre Dame. So how do we square that if we're going to put Notre Dame in? So the real problem is having these G5 schools in there, which they really should not. The G5 schools are playing a different sport. This is not. I mean, I would even argue the ACC is a different sport, but at least it's a Power Four conference. And yeah, I mean, join a conference, Notre Dame. Yeah, exactly. But they never will because they make so much more money being independent and with their brand. Their brand is like, top notch, and they make a lot of money being independent. They don't have to share it amongst the other, amongst the other conference people. For example, UCF just got a lot of money from the Big 12. We got our full share, it's called. So the Big 12 just gave us like a ton of money. Uh, so that's their problem. Their problem is you want them to not to give up a ton of money. Who amongst us, whomst amongst us, is going to give up a ton of money, millions and millions, to just give it up and go into the Big Ten or something, or the ACC? I'll just give up 25, 30, $50 million a year. They're not going to do that. So that's a problem. But if you're upset for Notre Dame, well, why'd you lose to Miami then? You should have beaten Miami. I mean, so here's crazy man Mateer now. He's got the ball at the 7-yard line. Quarterback run. At some point, this guy's going to get concussed. I mean, how many times are you going to do a quarterback power run? I equate Notre Dame to the Cowboys. Yeah, they have like that kind of a national following. And so that being the case, because of their history and all that, they have a long, long history going all the way back. So yeah, they are sort of like the Cowboys of college football. The Cowboys are number one in terms of NFL ratings and all that. Games that the networks want, they always want the Cowboys, and then the Chiefs are number two. Another running play makes it third and manageable. Now, can Alabama actually play defense on third down and get off the damn field? Or is Mateer going to make it one of his miracle throws? Karate says it's always about the money. It's always about the power. And the power is often related to the money. Remember, everybody wants more power and nobody wants less. That's like rule number one in life. And Notre Dame is super powerful and relates to the money, but ultimately they have power. And they're not going to give it up willingly. But really, if you just get rid of if you get rid of the G5s, and even Nick Saban's come out and said this, just get rid of the G5s out of there, give them the money to compensate them for going out of the tournament, and then you just have the best of the best, and that's it. You don't have to deal with these James Madisons and Tulane. I mean, give me a break. Does anybody want to see the Tulane green wave in this tournament? No. It's ridiculous. Oh, John Mateer tried to throw a sidearm ball while jumping. That's a new one. Now we're going to jump and throw sidearm. That's what we're going to do from the end zone. This guy is brilliant. Jump and sidearm from our own end zone. That's what we're up to over here. Jesus Christ, man. John Mateer might be the dumbest quarterback of all times. That's really saying something. Let's jump and then throw sidearm from the goal line with all these big magulas in front of us. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, do that. What are you, 6? What are you, 7 years old? What? What are you doing? Yeah, but then on the next one, he'll throw a ball 50 yards down the field for a touchdown. Now, if you're Alabama here, can we score a touchdown? Put these guys out of their friggin' misery already with their jump and spin around quarterback? No, we can't, because we can't ground and pound. We have no running game whatsoever. But we'll keep trying. Oh, look, this guy did okay. All right. Well, we got one. we got one. Can we build off of it? Aller was better than this, yeah, but this is a terrible game. So Mateer, no, not too many people had him highly rated. He was a guy that people were interested in seeing how he did this year because he transferred over from somewhere else. And the results were mixed this year. He was doing great stat wise anyway. Until he broke his thumb. Then he broke his thumb and he had surgery, missed one game, and then he came back and has been much worse since he broke his thumb. So, how do you evaluate all of that? He was a guy who, if he continued at his first half pace, people would have thought about it. But the scouting reports were much different than the stats. He was putting up good stats, but people saw all this craziness on tape, and so the scouts were not as impressed as the statistical people and the output people and so forth. Like he was a Heisman candidate, because he was putting up crazy numbers and Oklahoma was winning and all. But the scouts looking at the tape are like, this is a crazy man. We can't, But then again, like his comp is Will Levis. And Will Levis went in the second round. Hi, Karate, no. Stop with Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is not an NFL player. Stop it. This is now the second person with what about Diego Pavia? Diego Pavia is a smaller, slower, more noodle-armed Kyler Murray. You want that? Kyler Murray has a rocket for an arm, is super fast, and is small. Diego Pavia is as small, much slower, and has a noodle arm. You want that? Just stop it. Yeah, let's all agree on Diego Pavia as well, that he's not coming to the Jets under any and he has character concerns. Did you see what happened after he lost the Heisman? The guy's a total douchebag. I don't want Diego Pavia anywhere near the Jets facility. That douchebag can go fuck off, as far as I'm concerned. If you didn't see it, you could look it up online. Not a character guy. Not a guy I want around my team at all. See you later. Go enjoy. Go fuck off. Just to give you an idea, his mentor, his guidance counselor, so to speak, is Johnny Manziel. Okay? Johnny Manziel is advising him, and he's not advising him very well. Yeah, exactly. Tampa's got it. I mean, I think all the Notre Dame people, even respectable people like Brian Driscoll, I don't know if you follow Brian Driscoll, Tampa, like he's like, one of these big Notre Dame guys. They were all annoying. They were all super annoying. They would not stop tweeting about every angle of the playoff. And it's like, well, you lost to Miami. Fuck you. Go away. You lost your head-to-head. And the committee, one of their main things is head-to-head matchups. And you lost. And then they would go on and on and on and on and on and on about this and that. It was only in the first week and you can't penalize us and all this nonsense. Like, you lost to the team that you were up head-to-head against that were fighting to get in, and you lost. That's it. End of story. Goodbye. You shouldn't have lost. You shouldn't have done that. You lost. So, no. Super annoying, yeah. Now, he did have a certain gripe against the ACC because they did some weird stuff like playing that game over and over again on ESPN. Somebody made that decision. So there was some weird stuff going on, but like we said, Notre Dame is a powerful brand and a powerful entity, and so those people are going to feel very entitled to things, of course. But the fact of the matter is, Miami beat you, and that's it. And you were going up against them. That was the consideration. If you have a similar resume and they beat you, you lose. Go away. End of story. So, but these people would just go on and on and on and on. And there's a rushing touchdown. So it seems like Jam Miller is not that guy, but this guy number 4, maybe he's okay. But their main running back, Jam Miller, I don't think he's very good, or maybe he's still injured. But crazy, the Raiders could have had Armand Membo instead of Genti. Yeah, but again, their line looked decent in the offseason. They have Colton Miller. That's their right tackle. Then they have DJ Glaze. That's their left tackle, I think. Their line looked okay, especially for tackles. So they wanted Genti. Genti's probably going to be good eventually if he gets behind a good O-line. But yeah, I mean, if you're picking a running back there, that better be the cherry on top of your whole team. You better have no other needs, no nothing. But this is John Spytek. I thought John Spytek was supposed to be some kind of a genius. and also Tom Brady. So shady Tom Brady, football genius. John Spytek, also a Michigan man. They were roommates in college, John Spytek and Tom Brady, who's going to be so amazing. And they took Ashton Gente with the 5th overall pick, a running back. And they could not convince Ben Johnson to come there. And they decided to go with Geno Smith over Sam Darnold. And they decided to hire Chip Kelly for $6 million as the offensive coordinator, which does not, in retrospect, seem very wise. Any of those decisions. None of those decisions seem very good. So why do people think Tom Brady is some fucking genius? All those things had Brady's fingerprints on them. Everything I just said, Karate. They all did. He was heavily involved. He tried to recruit Ben Johnson there. Ben Johnson said, fuck you. Brady decided, no, Sam Darnold's no good. We don't need him. Who's having a better year, Geno or Darnold? The battle of the ex-Jets. Well, it's Darnold. So he had all that. He had a hand in all of that. And they were all bad decisions. They just won yesterday. Who won? Genty is O'Roy on the Jets. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. We could at least block. Exactly. Screw Tom Brady. Well, you may want to screw him, but the fact of the matter is he doesn't seem to be good at anything other than playing football when he was high on steroids, from Alex Guerrero. And by the way, Alex Guerrero is now the head trainer of the Raiders, by the way. So if they all start improving next year, they could be started giving them the right steroids. So you got to be careful with that. 3rd down and 8 now for crazy man Mateer. 6:48 remaining. It's a 10-point game, so still time for Oklahoma. However, they're taking it nice and slow, and they're at the minus 27-yard line. You might want to get going here, Mateer. They run a stunt, and they can't block it, and it's a sakalaka, and good night, probably. Well, 4th down, they might go for it. So, I don't know. And then Tom Brady also is a partial owner of the Birmingham City Blues over there in England, and that team did terrible his first year. And then he solved the problem by buying these players at very high prices. He just basically spent money on the problem, bought the best players he could buy, and then they did move up. They got promoted from League, I think it's called League 2 or League 1 or League 4.78 or something. And they did move up to the Championship League. But nonetheless, I don't think Tom Brady's even been a successful soccer team owner. Maybe old Phil Adams might feel differently, but ball game. Simpson, he's looked okay. He was a C- in the first half. His second half is going to be better, though. So his overall grade, he was C- at the half. Jets and Giants, but his second half is much better. So let's put it in right now. Let's total it up. I'll tell you exactly what his grade is. We don't care about Mateer. We care about old Simpson. So 1 elite throw, that's going to really help his grade. 1 great. He's got 4 solids now. Routine, he had 8. He's got 5, 10, 15 of these. Bad, 7. That's going to weigh it down. 2.03. So now he's up to a B-. So he's at a B-, which isn't bad. He raised his grade from a C- in the first half. So, but it is really hard to evaluate him because this Alabama team stinks. They can't block anybody. They have no running game. The receivers have all these drop sickles, although in my system that doesn't hurt him. But, you know, no running game. Their pass pro is shoddy. And he's got drop sickles all over the place. And he's still got 34 points up there. And he's still got a B- grade for me. Just grading the throws as I do. So I would say that's pretty good. He redeemed himself a little in the second half here. You see the traits that he has. I don't think anybody's going to think this guy's a first rounder this year with his lack of experience factored in. Teams want you to be at least above 20 game starts. He's not even going to be close. At least 20. They preferably want 30 plus. So it's gotten better, but it's really confusing how bad this Alabama team really is. And it looks like they're going to get a playoff win here. But then their next opponent's Indiana, and I don't think they're going to get past Indiana. I think we should bring back ABT. Yeah, I'd like to bring back ABT if he takes a prove it deal. He may think he can get a better deal on the market because he's so talented. Somebody might say, you know what, we'll take the injury risk. We'll give him 12, 15. And I would not do that. If that's the case, I would just probably re-sign John Simpson and draft someone in the second round or maybe the fourth round. I don't know. We have so many needs. But we should bring back either one of those two. Now, Alabama here should run out the clock, basically. They should not be passing the ball here. See, and that running back should have more explosion than that. There was an unblocked guy, but still. Should be exploding through that hole. He's not, these are not the same athletes that you're normally used to with Alabama. It's crazy. But still, if DeBoer gets this win, you figure if DeBoer gets this win here, and then Indiana knocks him out, he's probably on safe ground as far as Alabama's concerned, job safety-wise. But the question is, does he want to leave and go up to Michigan? I don't know why he would. If I were him, I would just say, okay, we got to do a much better job of recruiting here. We got a very flawed team. We got to really work on our recruitment. Let's go, recruiting department. And then they got to make a decision about Simpson. Based on this, he had a B- game, so he's not somebody you want to get rid of right now. But like, if they get knocked out by Indiana and he plays okay, do they want Simpson back? Does Alabama, understanding they have a 5-star behind him, they might not. They might say, hit the portal, young man. But this is a guy who sat behind Jalen Milroe for some reason. And that may be a decision that comes back to haunt them because, well, it's not going to haunt them, but yeah, speaking of jumping, there's a Nando jump pass. So sometimes you need it, I guess. But if you do it, it's got to work, you know what I mean? Red zone, 22-0. That pretty good? I think that's pretty good. It's funny. It said 33 touchdown passes leads FBS. And then you think back to Joe Burrow in 2019. I think Joe Burrow had 60 touchdown passes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So Nando led it with 33, and then Burrow in 2019, probably the greatest college football team of all times. 3rd and 5 now. Uh, threw for 60, and they're going to sack him because we can't pass protect. Yeah, Joe Burrow's not coming to the Jets. Why would he want to play here? Joe Burrow said he's sad and not sure he's having fun anymore playing football. Then we're going to put him on the Jets. I mean, do you want the guy to commit suicide, Jonathan? Let's be real. The guy's not having fun. Let's not have him kill himself. All right, put him on the Jets. See, like now in that sequence, it was 3rd and 5. They couldn't run a slant or something to get 5 yards. I mean, what are we doing? Then they run a stunt and they sack the guy. I mean, 18 rushes for 18 yards? Jesus. They ran quarterback power quite a bit. Now, 5 minutes left, 10 points down. They could still pull this one out. It's not over yet, folks. See how many jump passes we get this time. Mateer getting chased, throws it away. No, Jonathan, I'm not. I think, if anything, I think I would probably do the last one, but I don't know. Not too many people are joining here. The way I see it, we got 18 people here. The thing is telling me. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be a big need for listening to old Frankie ramble on during a college football game. But I figured I was going to be watching this game anyway. Might as well do a live stream. But tomorrow I'll probably be in and out of those games. Some of the games are not great. And if they give this fumble to Alabama, that should pretty much wrap it up. They do not. Oh, now they're saying Alabama ball. So that should wrap up the ball game pretty much. Well, let's see. One, two. Oh no, they're going to say this is incomplete. I bet you. You got to get 3 feet down now. They're going to say that's incomplete. Incomplete, though. So I would say no, Jonathan. I got a lot of stuff to do. And I'll probably be in and out with those games, whereas I kind of knew I'd be watching this one. Let's look at the schedule. This is here. Let's just see. College football bracket. Well, we got Oregon tomorrow at 7:30. Like Tulane, Ole Miss. I'm not gonna be I'll keep track of it, but I'm not going to be super interested in it. And then Miami, Texas A&M is kind of interesting, but that's the first game at 12. I think college officiating is better than the. Yeah, I agree. I think it's more consistent. Karate says Miami, Texas A&M. Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks to take a look at. I mean, Carson Beck is someone to keep in mind. Somebody's going to take Carson Beck in the draft. I don't know who, but that's a guy who had a lot of hype before the season started, and so that's a guy I wouldn't be particularly excited about Carson Beck, but somebody else might be. After all, he is tall. You know, you can never count out a tall white quarterback, who, as we all know, NFL loves their tall white guys to be quarterbacks. Well, an interesting thing about Miami too is Reuben Bain. So Reuben Bain was supposed to be one of the biggest, best edge players, and top 5 pick. Well, now they're saying his arms are going to come in at like 30 inches or something. That's not going to work for an edge player in the NFL. So now he might be a defensive tackle. But that's one potential top pick that teams were supposed to be all excited about. Reuben Bain. Let's take him in the top 5. Not sure if that's going to be the case anymore with those kind of measurables. It's really hard to succeed with short arms as an edge player in the NFL. But might be able to do so as a defensive tackle. So that's a guy to keep an eye on, for one. He missed it. Missed it. How did he miss it? How did he miss that one? I think it's because of the short shorts. You can't go onto a football field wearing Daisy Dukes and expect to kick field goals. That looked like it was good to me. Like, Daisy Dukes should not be allowed on a football field. That's good. What are they talking about? Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in the draft. Yeah. Maybe if it was a draft for the European League of Football, that would be sure. How did we have? How did he really miss that? I don't think so. Well, I guess they can't review it. I guess they can't review that. Do. All right. How come they can't use replay on a field goal? That's what I want to know. I think some of these Oklahoma defensive players are going to be uh, drafted, so forth and so on. Browns have an interesting quarterback room. Yeah, I'd say so. They got Deshaun coming back. See, like the Browns, I think we talked about this earlier, Jonathan. The Browns could say, we just need a bridge. We're talented. Let's use all our picks on offensive line and wide receiver, and either use Deshaun as a bridge or just sign a bridge quarterback. Holy cow! Can't even catch the ball. You know, I mean, because really, if they go rookie quarterback, then you're chancing again another season that you're hoping the quarterback can come in, rookie quarterback can come in and do a CJ Stroud type of deal. But normally they struggle as a rookie to some degree. So then you're wasting yet another year of Myles Garrett's career and another year of Denzel Ward and another year of all these people. What they need is offensive line and wide receiver. They have 2 first-round picks this year. They could use all their draft picks on offensive line and wide receiver, get a bridge quarterback, and if the bridge doesn't work out, then get Arch Manning in 27, who Jimmy Haslam really wants. The owner is very close to the Manning family. It's well known. So to me, if I were the Browns, I would go bridge and then build up the team and then go get Arch Manning in 27, and then you get Arch Manning, a really good team. They start ascending, and then in 2 years after that, you're going into your new stadium. So to me, that would be the plan for the Browns. But I see a lot of Browns fans, knowledgeable ones, saying they're taking a quarterback if they can get their hands on one in the first round. And so I think DW, yeah, well, it doesn't matter what he wants. Of course he wants to start. Everybody wants to start. Question is, what do the Browns want to do? So, but I think they just go bridge. I mean, maybe they feel good about Deshaun Watson, but I can't imagine it. They haven't seen him practice in a year or whatever. Who knows what they're gonna, It's not looking like Shador, at least so far. It's not. So, uh, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I can make the case for a bridge for the Browns. I can make the case for a bridge for the Raiders. The Giants are sticking with Dart, and the Titans are sticking with Cameron Ward, obviously. So it's going to be a very interesting off season. Tyler Shuck is the Saints quarterback next year. Also, Tyler Shuck is a franchise quarterback, as I've said multiple times. Tyler Shuck is their quarterback. There's all the knowledgeable Saints people are starting to figure this out now. Something I knew already, but 4th and 9. So amazingly, Oklahoma still has a chance, especially after this nice return. It's only a 10-point deficit with a $1:47 to go. Crazy man Mateer out here. He could throw a deep pass. So the Saints definitely don't need a quarterback. The Saints really need to reset their salary cap. Now is a perfect time to do it. They need to use all their draft picks on, other BPA. They don't need to waste any more time on quarterback. They got a good one for number one, and they got a good backup in Spencer Rattler. So they don't need to do anything else at quarterback. Just build up the team, get rid of the bad contracts, etc. And they need to get rid of Taysom Hill. This whole Taysom Hill experiment in New Orleans that has never worked. Just get rid of that guy, or just make him a tight end once and for all. Quit this quarterback nonsense with Taysom Hill. It never works. Stop it. Stop being stupid. Just make him a tight end or whatever, and that's all he is. Bring him in for a wildcat and a this and a that. It never works. Just stop it. I think part of the problem for Oklahoma is they decided to wear the Air Jordan apparel today. I don't understand that. Well, why are they wearing the Air Jordan apparel? Can someone explain that to me? I don't mean the maker's mark on the uniform. I mean, look at the coach. Look at the coach's hats and sweatshirts. They're all Air Jordan instead of Oklahoma. That didn't work. Can we now run out the clock, please, Mr. Alabama? I mean, I think Brent Venables needs to rethink his marketing approach. He's in one of the biggest games on television, and he's wearing an Air Jordan sweatshirt. You're supposed to be wearing an Oklahoma sweatshirt. What are you doing? You know, how are you going to come on TV in the college football playoff and you're sitting there in an Air Jordan sweatshirt? What? Alabama's wearing Alabama sweatshirts. That's the way you do it. You don't wear an Air Jordan sweatshirt. You're supposed to be marketing your school. What are you doing? All the videos, all the pictures that get taken, they're going to sit there and say Air Jordan. Doesn't make any sense. So the final grade for Ty Simpson, which is the one that matters. Ty Simpson gets 16 routines, so he just adds one more routine. So that's not going to move the grade much. Yeah, 2.03 for B minus. So he gets a B minus. That's what it is. But improved from the half. So good job, Alabama. I mean, this is a freaking flawed team, man. But they won. It'll be interesting to see how many Oklahoma kids declare for the draft. Yeah, where's the FSPN apparel? If I had the wherewithal, remember, FSPN is a one-man crew. So running an online apparel store is not really in my skill set. Be honest with you. Even though it's fairly easy to do these days, it's not really something. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. Yeah, and I think exactly. I think branding is very important. And if you're going to sit there and rep Air Jordan on your sweatshirt in big letters like that, what are you doing? How is that helping your brand? How is that helping your school? I mean, branding and marketing is all about, recruiting and retaining players, which you kind of need. So I don't understand Brent Venables doing that. I think that's pretty stupid. If you're gonna, you have to rep your school. You see what Coach DeBoer's wearing here. He's wearing all his Alabama stuff, an Alabama cap and an Alabama sweatshirt. That's what you need. Now, I don't like these coaches wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts in games, but that's a whole other story. But if you're going to do it, wear your school colors and your school brand. That brand, that A, whatever font that A is, that Alabama font A, that is their brand. That's extremely important. That's why our coach got into a big brouhaha about somebody calling us Central Florida. But we brand ourselves as UCF, and it's a branding thing. And he was a little upset. Somebody didn't call us the right thing. And then other people on social media were like, "I don't understand. Your name is Central Florida." It's like, yeah, but we brand ourselves as UCF. That's the brand, and it's very, very important. It's like super important. So to give away prime real estate on your sweatshirt during a playoff game to Air Jordan, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. So see you Sunday. Hi, karate. See you later. Thanks everybody for joining. This game is over. Alabama goes forward in the playoff, and now they'll play Indiana. That'll be a fun game. Mendoza versus Simpson. Well, we'll have to score that one. Final score for Ty Simpson, B- in this game in the Frankie grading system. Good job, Mr. Ty Simpson. Alabama drives on. And if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Please consider joining the Inner Circle. Please do all the things, and I will see you next time.